Oh, I've gone live.
Are you what's a cam girl? You're a cam
I am,
girl.
yeah. If you send me the bitcoins, I'll take off my top.
All right.
I know. So this podcast is about
Is your nips?
Nip Tuck. Watching an episode of Nip Tuck while doing my own Nip Tuck on me.
I've never seen that show.
It's fun. That's just like a HBO drama kind of thing.
Did you ever do a nip tuck when you were in your dad's
Like
operating room?
he'd let me do it?
Did you ever do a boob job?
A couple, yeah. I got a couple practice ones off. Yeah.
How'd they turn out?
Some were uneven, so like it looked really bad. But some were pretty good. You know, what's cool is like because like the chicks are under anesthesia, you can put like whatever in there and they don't know.
God.
Like sand or
you can put sand in their boobs.
Flour, yeah. Flour's cool because it absorbs all the fat cells.
What's the weirdest thing that you put in there?
The weirdest thing? There was you know how like you go to Dion's and they have like the different types of like pizzas. You know, have like regular pizza, but they also have like the Albuquerque like the Duke or whatever. And it's got like barbecue and onions and stuff. I just emptied one of those like slices into so there was a lot of different veggies.
Okay.
Green peppers. It was like being at Subway.
So none of the women whose boob jobs you did with food stuffs ever came back and said, "Hey, there's something wrong with my breasts." They're like,
no, what would be wrong with them?
Flour,
yeah,
absorbing all the fat, or green peppers.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing. I mean,
capsaicin in your nipple.
It's probably the best kind.
Gaming Through the Decades commented, "Yo." So this is interesting because Gaming Through the Decades is going to be watching this. Oh, that's actually my friend John. I just met him this weekend. Yeah, we could never remember his channel name. Kept calling it Gaming Through the Ages, Gaming Through the Days, Gaming Through the Minutes, the Hours, the Eons. But it's this dude that I met in Arizona.
Why did you go to Arizona? I didn't even ask you.
Just to kiss a bunch of women. Didn't happen once.
No.
But no, we were out there for a show called the Game On Expo, and it was held by like this one dude named Gamester81, who's this big YouTube personality, and he wanted to put on like this great big show, and I think he did one last year too. He'll do another next year. But it's basically just getting YouTubers and people who want to like play video games and celebrate video games, and people who have like their own stores or media or advertising or whatever, and they just come out here for a small gaming convention, and you get cosplays. You get guest speakers, you get artists, you get panelists, you get voice actors. And so like the chick who did the voice of Princess Peach was there.
Cool.
The guy who did the voice of Master Chief from Halo was there. And I got them to like say Gamers Anonymous because we were running around as media almost the entire time. So we didn't actually really get to do a whole lot of like purchasing or gaming really. We were just talking to lots of people. And I met one of my absolute favorite YouTube personas. And we had to actually go back to his hotel room and do an interview there. So it was quiet. It was away from everybody. It wasn't interrupted. You know, he was just chilling, hanging out. And then afterwards, we went and got dinner. And I sat down. I talked to him for like an hour and a half. And it was really fun. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. And there's something really special to me about meeting these people. And every single one of them is nice in real life. So it's not like you went to this thing and, you know, they have a cool persona online and then you go there and there's jerks. Every one of them was cool. Even this one dude who's heralded as one of like the most like, he's not liked by a lot of people because he's very vehement about his opinion. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met because he's honest about his opinion. He says it. He doesn't, that I've seen, you know, really belittle people. He'll announce, you know, what he thinks, but he was very cool with everybody, very compassionate, very, very nice, very kind. And it's interesting to see what people see when it's just a persona online versus an actual like entity.
That's cool.
It was neat. So I met a bunch of dudes. This guy's house we stayed at, New Spencer. He invited some of his friends over, and we did a podcast there for a couple hours.
I'm glad you made it home safe.
I did make it home safe. Also, Arizona is so hot.
Yes.
That's what it's.
Where were you?
The convention was in Mesa, and we stayed in a little city called Surprise, which I never heard of until.
Surprise. Yeah,
no. When I first got there, it said Surprise Convention Center, or no, Surprise Stadium. And then we kept driving. It said City of Surprise. I was like, this has to be a weird joke. This doesn't make any sense. But, you know, like there's cities and towns all over the United States that have weird names. But I think this is a new one. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Surprise is the kind of thing you would call it like 100 years ago when you're first, cultivating the land initially because nobody knows what to call it.
Right.
Truth or Consequences or Groom or these weird
But
things.
now they should call it like Old News.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need like some sort of super cool name, but it was
Super cool name.
Yeah, no, but it was really nice. It was a nice little area, and 1,000,000,000 degrees. I was actually not expecting it to be as hot as it was.
Really?
Yep.
You thought it'd be cold.
I thought it was gonna be like in like the low 40s, but I was unpleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
When it was like, I think about like 120. It was really nasty.
Yeah.
Really, really terrible.
It's hot. Arizona's hot. I went to college there the first year that I was in school.
Why?
To get less dumb than I was, I guess. I don't know. And it was, I remember I would drink like 2 gallons of water a day just to like deal with how, I don't know, just how dehydrated I would get.
Oh, so my buddy Gaming Through the Decades is watching. So just for the record, I actually can't see your full comments. They appear partially on my phone. And if you come to the actual event page that I posted, there's like a little Q&A thing that you can use to talk directly to us, and the whole thing will show up. But until the podcast is done, I actually can't see these comments show up anywhere. So I can only see he's trying to explain the name of Surprise. And it was Found is all he got. The name was Foundation or Found or Founded. No, right? Founded by all the women that I kissed out there. Mm-hmm. Zero women. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so got back Sunday night, and it was good. Had an interesting immediately after that.
John didn't tell me what we're talking about tonight. He said that he wants to just see my raw reaction.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like crazy major, but I thought it would be interesting just to sort of like not tell you anything and even preempt emotionally. Because like it's nothing like, life-shattering, but it's just some unprecedented events that were kind of interesting for me. Some stuff I kind of wasn't expecting to feel on several ends of both sides of the spectrum.
Okay.
So that's super weird.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time.
It's been a couple weeks because you weren't available last week.
I wasn't feeling good last week.
Yeah, so you were sick. But no, to start it off though, I mean,
how have your last couple weeks been? Other than that,
okay, we'll get into my thing later actually, because I want to sort of preempt and we'll do all this kind of stuff first. I think I'd like a better segue. Good. Busy with the store. Life is going great. Stores are doing well. A lot of good energy has been put out there. Things have just been good. Everything's been running smoothly. Just between the stores, my employees are some of the most wonderful people on the planet. I'm so happy with the people that I've chosen and their progress and their growth. And it's amazing to me to have some people that have come in, sometimes knowing little to nothing about what a store like mine requires, but them being willing to learn and me getting to see that they're learning because they're producing, without me having to instigate all the time. Mm-hmm. Like little things happen here and there, mistakes, growth, but it's all being proceeded with quality and progress. You can see it. And I came back this weekend and the whole store was super clean and my office was completely like redone and clean, and just it's very relieving to know that like these guys have got my back.
That's cool.
It helps a lot.
Have there been times that you didn't feel like you had a team like that?
There have been times, yeah. And the guys I currently have right now are extremely good. But yeah, there's been times when it hasn't worked out. And I mean, it can be for like a number of reasons. It's not necessarily because like employees are bad, but because situations on their end might be personal, so it's affecting work performance, mm-hmm. or there could be like a whole number of things. But I'm relieved that right now I'm in a spot where that's not even anything I have to worry about or consider. So thank goodness.
Rad.
Yeah, they're very willing to help out even outside of the store. It's been terrific.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, how about you? You were sick?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling too good, but I actually had my job transition thing go on this week as of yesterday and today, actually. So
how's that?
Good. I have changed my full-time position at my old gig, and I am now moving on to working with kids. So
good.
Yeah, it's really different. Well, I haven't started yet, but
okay, but it will be good.
I think I know what kids are.
What? I haven't heard of those.
I think they're smaller versions of. I think they're a lot like you.
They're like miniature adults.
They're like
what ponies are to people.
Yeah.
To horses. Wait, hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's not
that's
like
what they are.
Okay. I guess that'd be a midget.
So anyway.
Oh, anyway, yeah.
Anyway, so it's been kind of a weird thing just for me mentally to be thinking about how I'm working now, no longer full time or no longer at all actually with federal probation stuff. It's really weird because I've been doing it for years now, and it feels sort of, I don't know, just like it feels abrupt. It hasn't been. I've known it's coming, but once you go from one thing to another, it's like, okay, wow. Yeah. So that's not me. I'm officially not that title anymore. I'm officially not in that seat.
You moved, you shifted
at my old job, and it's weird, you know. And I think a lot of that comes from how much we really do identify with our jobs. Like it becomes such an like a identity maker for us. You know, is what do you do is one of the main things that we'll ask each other when we meet people. Yeah. And so it's just interesting when that such a central thing shifts a lot.
How long were you in the position that you were just in before?
I have been there for about 5 years, and you know, I was managing a program, and I've learned about myself that I don't really love managing. I don't, and that's one thing I admire about you a lot, because you've been doing it for a long time, and you seem to really have a good groove with it. But it's hard for me because I don't feel like I have the right kind of patience for it. You know, like there's such a part of me that feels like, use your brain and figure it out. Like I don't want to help you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to help you. That's the perfect position.
It's not like I have a problem telling people what to do, or I'm uncomfortable with that. It's not that at all. It's that I don't want to have to.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Which isn't really good managerial. That's a limitation in my personality for managing people, because people oftentimes need guidance and want guidance. And I will oftentimes feel like, what's the matter with you needing guidance or wanting some kind of support?
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah, right.
Which isn't fair. But that's how I feel. So now I'm moving into a contracted position, working in a totally different population where I just have a lot more free, like self-autonomy and just self-government, not in charge of anybody else at all. So, but it is really weird to step out of the probationary thing, because that's been such a huge part of my career development.
Sure.
Is working with criminal justice system and people that are getting through the federal prison system.
Right.
So it's really weird to step out of that. So I'm kind of like, it feels weird.
Very different. It's a very big change.
Yeah, it is a really big change for me. I didn't anticipate it being such a huge shift in me internally, but I'm like, whoa, I feel confused actually right now. Like, just strangely.
Yeah, that's cool. Is we have Sup Y'all from The Rain Man.
Sup.
Does that mean anything to you?
Sup Y'all?
The Rain Man.
The Rain Man makes me think of Dustin Hoffman.
Does that make you think of anything else?
No.
Just out of curiosity. Like if you hear The Rain Man, like you don't think of. So I had like a really interesting like thought today. It was very, very fascinating to me. And so The Rain Man, my friend Jason. This is The Rain Man from 94 Rock. He used to be one of like their VJs or disc jockeys, I guess, just regular DJ, and he used to like do like talk show stuff. And he was just one of like the radio voice personalities for 94 Rock here in town. So I grew up listening to this guy. Okay. And now he comes to the store and we hang out and talk about video games. And to me, like I was thinking about this when I was driving home today or driving back to the store from some errands I was running. And I was just thinking about the fact that like there's this dude that like as a kid, certain people felt untouchable. Like, you know, like you can go online and you can talk to nearly anybody you've ever wanted to know. You could write something to J.K. Rowling and she could answer it. She could retweet it. She could acknowledge it. You know, like the dude that I met out at the con in Phoenix, like he lives in Canada. I wasn't going to meet him, but I had the chance to, and I had the chance to really do it. And now like this guy who's like one of my childhood, like personas, he was a voice. He was a kind of like, you know, like local celebrity kind of thing. I just never really thought about it a lot, but I'm to the point now where I'm face to face with this guy and he comes to my store and we hang out and we talk, and conversations just aren't about games or, you know, things of that nature, but it's about like we get into, you know, small discussions about life, and he posts really good stuff on people's pages and he posts stuff on my pages, and he shows a lot of like support and love, and just it's so cool to me to see that like we're all just people, and like there's something almost honorific about getting the chance to like have people like that just be people, but then people like me still get excited to be around them and hang out with them, and you know, it's like it's weird honorific kind of thing. I don't know, it's really strange and kind of hard to explain, but
It's emotional.
it is emotional. It's actually really cool because he's such a great guy. He's such a good dude. And so yeah, I'm actually getting a little emotional right now too. And it's all building up right now. There's a lot going on. So yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
But and some of the emotion's good and some of it's a little bit tricky. Some of it's kind of hard for me to deal with. Mostly because there's things I'm not like ready to deal with.
Okay, that's interesting because what I've been feeling in the last 10 minutes
Mhm.
around you has been like a hesitation. Something's been feeling hesitant, which is really unusual because usually with you I don't feel that there's much of a wall, but I feel like there's something that like you're bracing yourself for, kind of.
Kind of.
So I mean, I've been really interested. So like I said, John told me earlier that he wanted to talk about some specific stuff, but he didn't want to tell me yet, which I was kind of like weird.
Yeah, right.
Interesting. And then the last little bit here, I've been sort of just kind of waiting for you to
Sort of bring it out.
yes, get to
Yeah.
what it is that's going on with you, because it feels, I don't know.
So for the past
I've known John for 25 years.
25 years.
Like the way that I feel around him is usually tells me something going on with him.
Yeah, you're very in tune with me. It's cool. It's very cool.
But the word in my mind has been hesitant. Like
Sure.
what is this?
Sure.
There's like a wall.
It's been interesting. And so over this weekend, I've been in contact with this girl that I've been talking to, and I ended up talking to her sometime, I think earlier this year or maybe late last year, just about like doing like some art projects together. And
Is she in town here?
she lives here in town.
Okay.
And over this weekend, we ended up like talking a whole bunch just on Facebook and texting and all that kind of stuff, and really, really fun. And then conversations. And, you know, when I'm driving back every now and then, I'd hear like a little bing on my phone. And when opportunity arose, I would, you know, sort of check it out and see what's going on. But the night that I got back, we ended up speaking on the phone for like 3 hours. Okay, we haven't met each other yet, but we've talked before.
Okay.
And we're just like, you know, hey, we should go hang out sometime, and this will be really fun. And something happened that hasn't happened for a while. And we were just talking, you know, just chilling like on the phone and like doing these things. And at one point when I got like a message from her on Facebook, you know, we're just driving down the road, I checked it and her name popped up, and I got these butterflies. And I was like, that's not familiar because this hasn't happened for
It's been a while.
a while. It's been a very long while. Very interesting because I just didn't expect it. A very different kind of situation. And so I was like, this seems good. And so like we're just talking, and we ended up talking for like 3 hours on the phone. I mean, until like 1, almost 2 in the morning. And I was so tired because it'd been a very long weekend. And so we ended up opening up to each other a pretty significant amount. And so it was really interesting to find out a lot about this person. She found out a whole lot about me. And then, so we were talking the next day, and she goes, hey, you know, I felt a little bit strange after last night. And I said, okay, what does that mean? What do you mean? She said, well, you know, I feel like I opened up a lot more than I normally do, and I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'm kind of unsettled. And I thought, well, that's an interesting thing to hear, because usually it's like, hey, you know, it's more common to hear you did something and I got to back away because I'm not sure how I feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, I opened up more than I thought I was going to. I don't think I was ready for that. So I'm just going to sort of chill, sort of take a step back. And I said, okay, that's fine. You let me know. I will leave this up to you. I will hang tight until you decide if you want to contact me. Totally fine. Totally cool. So, you know, it was a little bit unusual, a little bit kind of like, well, that wasn't what I expected, but she's cool. We'll sort of see how things go. Maybe yes, maybe no. Either way, that's fine. 20 minutes after that, I'm at work, and I get a text on my phone. I check it. It's Christina.
No way. Okay.
And that sent me into like a panic of sorts. Like I felt so anxious immediately.
Christina's very, very significant person in John's last couple of years.
Yeah, the past 20 months, this person has. The situation is complicated. I hold no blame or you know.
But the pain has been really paramount.
The pain has been, yeah, it's It's been a hell of a trip. And so I've been working very steadily this year at getting over a lot of that. And
How long was it since you had heard from her?
December.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the text wasn't malicious or mean or bad-spirited, but I think there's still some sort of unawareness or ignorance of the fact that, like, I'm not to be convenience. I'm, if you want to be around me, cool, and if not, cool. But I need to know. And so the text was something really basic. Hey, how's it going? I'm sorry I didn't, respond to your last text. I just wanted to
8 months ago?
check in on you. Hope things are well. Well, I'd sent like one or two like in the meantime because during December when we last talked, I sent one little late January, maybe like a couple months later saying, hey, okay, like I guess this is that. And then one last one sometime in April that was like, hey, are you up? I had some anxious feelings one night and wanted to just talk to her and be like, I got to quell this somehow because I'm still, something's going on. And so, yeah, so several texts sent in between them that just never got answered. And this one that sort of like pseudo acknowledged it, but was just like, hey, how's it going? How are you? I hope things are well. Kind of just like, hey, it doesn't matter that you've been in tremendous pain, but what's up? And it made me so anxious that for the rest of the day, I just felt like I didn't want to do anything or talk to anybody or be at work. I just wanted to like go home and freak out.
Okay.
It was significant. It was jarring. It was upsetting because, like this other situation shows up and it's kind of like, okay, well, we'll ride that out and see how it goes. But then immediately this comes up and I was trying to view it as the universe going, listen, I'm giving you two options right now. One of them is to look at a situation and to weigh out whether or not you want to be somewhere you've been before at the risk of hurt. No guarantee that this will be exactly what you want. Do you want to take the step in this direction and see what happens? Mm-hmm. Or is there a chance you want to find something better? This is like the sort of like, this is the divide. Which of the two are you going to choose? I'm going to test you. And so I'm driving home thinking about this, just reeling. And all I want to do is get home so I don't have to be around people or talk to anybody or anything. And I just felt like not good at all. But I haven't answered. I don't know what to say. I don't even know if I'm going to answer, but I just don't know how to react to it. I'm not sure at all because I wasn't prepared for this.
So what is the word convenience that came in?
The word convenience was being there and used to describe sort of like, John will be around if I need him, so I'll approach him at my leisure. It doesn't matter what he needs or wants or how I make him feel, because if I'm going to say hi, I'm going to say hi, but with no regard for what it does to me. If it's inconvenient for her to talk to me for 8 months, but it's convenient for her today.
When you talked back in January or December or whenever, was she aware? You made her pretty aware of what it had been like for you, right? Like of her effect on you and the severity of what it had felt like for you. So it wasn't like she was not communicated with about that. She did know.
Correct. She knew.
Okay.
And one of the big questions I had asked her back in December, where we're in my back room at the store talking, I said I had a dream where this happened, and I approached her and I just said, "Are you done with me?"
Yes, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
And she wouldn't answer. She wouldn't give me a response to it. And I asked again, "I need you to tell me if you're done with me." And she said, "I can't answer that question." And it's terrifying because it gave sort of like a sense of like false hope, but at the same time, it was so inconclusive. It was just like, just tell me you're done, because I need to heal right now, because I wasn't allowing myself to do it. And I knew I wasn't at the place where I could. I know I'm totally capable of being able to do that whenever I need to, but sometimes when you're in such turmoil, it's so hard to know how to take that step, because the emotions do that. They grasp you, they hold you, they can kind of pull you. And I just wasn't ready to let go because I was still so in love. And so it was interesting to have that happen out of absolute nowhere.
Okay.
And that it's weird how much it affected me because I didn't think it was going to, but I figured it was done. I figured I was never going to hear from her again. I was prepared for that. I accepted my own closure and said, I'm never going to talk to Christina again as of 3 months ago, which is when I began a lot of the healing from my depression and anxiety. And then boom, like as if overnight, oh, I don't feel great suddenly. And that was jarring for me. That was absolutely something I was not ready for. So I don't know. And then, so I'm trying to also think like, where do I really want to go? What do I really want? And, I feel as if I've gotten to the point where I'm ready to move forward and possibly with somebody else, if it makes sense, if it feels right, not just to move forward, but to move forward if it's good for my growth. And so as I'm, talking to this girl and having a really good conversation, we're having a good time, I was like, cool. This is the first time in a long time I've felt that it's okay for me to do that. And then suddenly...
Well, and then she said to you, whoa, this is intense for me. I need to back off a little bit.
Sure. And that's okay, because it was honest. I appreciate that. Like, I can't fault it at all, and she was very straightforward with it. And that's all I wanted, So, cool with that. But, yeah. So, I know it's not a big deal. And, well, I mean, there's been other things that have sort of come up. My poor sweet mother is trying so hard to figure out what I want to do for my birthday. I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be at home with my phone off and like lay on my couch.
John's birthday is Sunday.
For like 12 straight hours. Yeah.
The 14th.
Yep.
He'll be at home on his couch.
Yeah.
Laying around by himself in the dark.
You guys need to get a hold of me.
If you need to get a hold of him, you won't be able to. So you tell him happy birthday tonight.
Tonight, otherwise, yeah, it's not going to happen. I turn off my phone tomorrow. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, there's it's interesting. And I mean, in other news, like my aunt passed away recently, and it was a very sad situation. She was very old, but it was there's a lot of medical complications that came up, but it was also sort of out of nowhere because she wasn't in poor health physically, but she had some ongoing mental illnesses that were sort of protruding, and it sort of happened kind of quickly. So, like, I mean, there's a whole mixture of things that have all sort of gone on, and I had just gotten back into town. But what's nice is the one footing that I had was walking into the store and seeing that everything was where it needed to be, and I didn't have to address any of that. And even a couple of my employees were like, hey, if you need anything, if you need us to work tomorrow, if you need us to like step in for you and help out, just tell us. And I was like, you guys are so great.
Yes. Did you say yes?
I did not.
Oh.
I did not. No, I had some stuff I still needed to do, some stuff I needed to take care of. So I took care of that today. But I've got a couple short days ahead of me, and then I'm gonna, I think, sort of decompress this weekend and figure it all out. But it was an experience. Just a lot on all over the place.
Okay.
It was quite a bit to deal with, and so I'm still sort of figuring that out.
What are you feeling? Are you sad?
Like sad about Christina?
I don't know. Anything. Like, what are you feeling in general? What all's there? What can you identify? What feelings?
I mean, there's some frustration for sure. I mean, I think there's a little bit of anger too. I don't want to be angry at Christina, but I think it makes me angry to think that she can just sort of show up and be like, oh, by the way, hey, I know you've been terribly in love with me for the past year and a half, and I pretty much broke your heart and I'm aware of it, but hey, what's up? Just here to say hi. Like I'm
reminding you of me.
Yeah, guess what? Guess what? And that I think there's like a little bit of anger and thinking like, that's not fair.
I think anger is a decent thing to go to. The reason I say that is because what I've watched of you, or what I've known of you and gone through the Christina situation, has been a lot of just a lot of like excusing that,
Yeah.
It's okay. Oh, she didn't know what she wanted. It's okay. I excuse it. I forgive it. I excuse it. I forgive it. I excuse it. I forgive it. And as like benevolent an endeavor as that is, like, it's felt honestly, John, like avoiding. You know what I mean? It's felt avoidance. Like, I don't want to really get to what this feels like or really means to me. I just want to say it's okay, and that she didn't mean it, and that nothing bad was, nothing unfair was done. You know what I mean? Like, that's really been, it seemed like to me for a while, where you tried to be with it, which unfortunately isn't really how you felt. I don't think ever. It's
hard. I wanted to sort of, in like the defense of love, sort of put that out there so as not to demonize her. But I looked for ways to excuse it just so I could be like, I understand that she had to do that to me. And ideally, that's not true. There's no reason to do that to somebody. you know. But
what about that made it seem like it would feel safer if it was okay for her to just like, drag my heart along like a whatever. Like, what made it safer to feel like that than to just feel angry?
a lot of it came down to hoping that it was temporary, like she said. One of the things that she wrote in that note that she gave to me was, I know your wounds, I know your pain, and I would never do that to you again.
Mm-hmm.
And wanting to believe that that's true. Absolutely. Maybe looking for a way to like say, yeah, she wouldn't do that to me again. Maybe wanting to believe it so badly that I tried to find a way to justify it, because I refuse to believe that someone would acknowledge those things completely, just outright, and still betray that. Maybe it was just too painful to believe that someone would be like, oh, yeah, I know that, like, you hate having hot coffee poured all over your head. I would never do that to you, but I'm going to pour just real quick. Just no explanation, no, anything. I know you don't like this, but I'm going to do it. I know I would never do that to you, but I'm still going to do it.
I think that some of what can keep us sometimes in a state of depression or non-healing about a situation or a loss, when we don't let ourselves move through up that emotional scale, because there's that sense of pain and betrayal and ow, that broke my heart. You go a little further in the healing process, you'll get to anger. You go a little further, you're going to get to some kind of neutrality. You go further, you're going to get to hope. I mean, there's a scale that we move up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you've really, for whatever reason or whatever fear you've had that's kept you from moving up that scale, tried to stay at just, it's okay what happened. It's okay what happened. It's okay. Like a denial spot.
Yeah.
More than anything, which, I mean, I do think that like anger is something that is necessary along the way. And
I don't think I've been as angry as I should have been to allow myself to get past that.
Yeah, I think so too.
I keep wanting to deny it. I keep wanting to say, justify. And I think you're right. I think you're completely right. Is that
when you talk about a minute ago when you were saying that she had written in that note or that letter that I'm aware of your wounds, I'm aware of where they are and what they are, and I won't reoffend those. Like when she had written whatever that was, I felt angry. You know what I mean? Like what comes up for me when you talk about this individual, and I'm sure she's lovely, but like I told you, a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago or something, a year ago, the first time we talked about her, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know that what I thought, and I hope I said this out loud, that what I thought was like, this chick is not steady enough for you to hang anything on. Like, don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Let it go now, because she's gonna jack up. She's gonna jack with your head. Like I knew that right away.
It will keep going.
And the reason that I knew that is because, like, one, I think, like I said earlier, I mean, I can intuit really well what's up with you, but two, I've been a nightmare. You know what I mean? I've been a chick that like just would jerk a dude around for almost the fun of it. You know what I mean? And I'm sure she's not vindictive like that, but you know what I'm saying? Like I can hear it, I can feel it, I can see it a mile away. You know what I'm saying? And she, for whatever it was that she was accomplishing for herself, whatever it was that she was getting out of it, she was willing to do that at your expense. So when I hear you talk about her, I feel pissed off for you.
Yeah.
And
it's hard because I do have kind of a hard time opening up to people. So when I make the choice to like really bare myself to anybody, I think what it came down to with her was that I just refused to believe that somebody could do that, knowing everything, and because I don't want to open myself to just anybody, and I'm fine, I mean, keeping closed to a degree. I'm not just, doing it for all people. But if I'm opening myself up to somebody, I want it to be treated well. And if it turns out like it's not going to be treated in the way that, has been promised or spoken of, it needs to be closed well. It needs to be closed with respect, for me. So if she is going to say these things and then later change her mind.
So whose job is it to close that well?
Well, I mean, I think ultimately it's mine. But I believe just as I would want to do that to somebody out of as much respect as possible, even if it's going to hurt, I want to close something with somebody for them so they don't sit around wondering forever, because I don't want that to happen to me. And I know not everybody works like that, and maybe she just never even thinks of it. Maybe it never occurs to her that that's the way I function. But even though I asked for it explicitly several times, but ultimately what it came down to is I refuse to believe that I could trust somebody so much that would choose to betray that after it's happened so many times.
Okay, so that you could be that mistaken about somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just didn't want to believe that I could be mistaken about somebody that I loved so much. Because that's hard, because that comes down to the responsibility of, I made the choice to love this person.
You did, yeah.
And I didn't want to be wrong about it.
What's ever wrong about loving a person, though? I think we're talking about something else when we're talking about what causes the pain of it. There's a difference between love and attaching. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
I agree. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And I will go ahead and venture that when we attach to somebody and we need them to do something specific in order for us to feel good, that isn't love.
That's true.
It's not. So,
and the relationship never was that up until the point where she handed me this letter and said, I have to go. It was always very freeform and very open and very just like, there's no reliance on one another. It's all just a mutual, when we get together, it's great. And when we're not together, we're fine because we're doing our own thing. It was always so good up until the point where she handed me that letter.
Yeah.
And I think it was just, I wasn't mad because I didn't fault her for needing to step away. But I think it was just being back and forth so much. I think it was being pulled and pushed so often that I'm upset that I'm not upset with her. I'm upset that I let myself do it. I'm upset that I kept choosing to allow it, So I guess I can't be, she's going to do what she's going to do. That's how she's going to work. But I'm upset that I continued to stay there when it wasn't what I needed.
Mm-hmm. I think that, so you're talking about how before that letter, everything was really free-formed and really, it flowed just beautifully and it felt like love.
Very much.
It felt good.
Very much.
I'm going to venture another thing, which is it sounds like the whole thing sounds really conditional. Like it was going well, so it felt great.
Yeah.
It was going well, so I could say I loved her without being mad at myself for loving her. I don't hear a lot of unconditionality in how you felt. Honestly.
What do you mean?
What I hear is a lot of expectation.
Expectation like coming from her? Or coming from me for her? It's quite possible. What do you think? What do you mean? What kind of expectation?
Well, is it possible to be in such searing agony if we didn't expect something specific other than what happened to happen? You had your mind, you had your picture set on what it needed to be like, what you wanted it to be like in order for you to be happy about her.
Yeah. I think it was the pushing and the pulling that was so different, She said, she handed me the letter. Did I tell you the story?
Yeah, I remember.
She handed me this letter, so if anybody wants to know, a breakup letter, essentially, or a separation, or whatever it was. Then the next day after this letter of I'm not going to see you until I'm ready, she shows back up. And then she shows back up the next day. And then the next day, then communication ceases for a week. Then she shows back up saying, I'm sorry, I'm still in love with you. And it just kept going, and I was so confused. I should have actually just stepped away completely when, but I didn't. Because
and my point is that, you didn't. And and the foundation, underlying that is there was expectation. Like, when we're unconditional, we can let somebody go do what they do. I love you unconditionally, you freaking psycho. Go figure yourself out.
Right.
And I'll love you from here. And you couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by unconditional. Not like you were selfish or something like that.
Sure.
But that's not that isn't unconditional love. That's not what that was. I mean, that was like you still wanting from. Like, come give it back, give it back, give it back. You took it, give it back.
I think
know what I'm saying?
For me, and the way I interpreted it was, I'm fine with you doing what you're going to do, but if you tell me one thing and then do another, that's confusing for me. That's difficult. I don't know how to handle that, Because I'm fine with people being fully autonomous and me not being involved. If I truly love somebody, all I care is for them to be happy no matter what, if I'm involved or not. You know?
Is that how you feel about her?
Well, at this point, I don't know. It's hard for me actually to remember a year and a half ago where exactly I was with that feeling, because eventually I got, attached to the idea of everything, and so I think it got very convoluted in how I actually felt, down the road, and that just made things confusing for me. But I'm trying to remember exactly at the time, and yeah, because we had actually discussed it a lot, because our relationship started very open. It was completely open, and I had no problem with any of that. Like, sometimes we just wouldn't see each other for weeks. Sometimes we would talk every day. Sometimes we wouldn't. And it was really cool because it worked better than most relationships I'd ever had in that regard. And that was unusual for me. But then as it got further and further, and she finally, said, I love you. And then she finally, I would do anything for you. And she sort of presented all these kinds of things. And then took him away, and then gave him back and took him away over and over. And it just sort of confused me because I didn't know what to do at that point, because it had never been there. It had never been to that point. So I guess I just didn't know how to deal with that kind of change in the relationship. And I think I wanted just a degree of certainty, so I knew sort of like, is this or is this not going to happen? Because if it's going to, that's fine. But if it's not, then don't tell me that it is. That was hard. Yeah. And I at that point, it probably would have been much better for me to not obsess over it, because that's basically what I did, straight up. Yeah.
And so here she comes back.
Right, yeah. suddenly.
Hi.
Yeah, hi, how's it going? Complicated things for you for a long time. What's up?
I just feel like, John, that during that time, I mean, that was that kind of thing. We've all been there. That's our cue. Like,
yeah.
Go inward, and you need to put on hyperdrive that self-love thing, because from what was happening on the outside of you, it was crappy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when we don't turn on that like hyperdrive self-love inner thing, when we don't turn that on, we're not capable of hearing the truth of somebody, or watching what they say and what they do, and even seeing any discrepancy. We can't even see or hear anything clearly,
right?
Because we're not, like, you weren't giving that to yourself at the time.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Not
you weren't
all.
Your first priority. Your first priority was, how do I get it back? How do I get back this thing that I think might have been taken away?
Yeah.
How do I keep this thing that I think she gave back to me again?
Yeah.
I mean, your first priority wasn't you and your own happiness and your own thing. It was, how do I keep her?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by like very conditional. Like, I need that. That's the condition that I need. That is the life condition set of events and person that I need here in order for me to feel good. Do you know what I'm saying? Which isn't love, and it's not like an unconditional care of yourself, or it's like the way you put it was obsess.
Yeah.
Really, you know what I mean? And I don't know if I don't know what you're feeling now in terms of obsessional. Are you feeling obsessive?
At this point, no. I'm feeling more irritated than anything, because it's like,
Yay!
which is good. That's much better progress. That's why I haven't actually texted back immediately, because normally I would do that. Normally I'd be like, oh, I'm getting attention. Let's feed that. Yeah. Especially because it's like, I'm also, hey, you're interrupting something.
You're frustrated. You're irritated.
Yeah. You're interrupting some progress that I'm making right now. I've met this other person, and like, who knows what that's going to lead to, if anything. But whatever the case, you're interrupting me.
Yeah.
That's
that hyperdrive, go inner, self-love thing.
Right.
Excuse me, what I have going on in here in my heart and my mind is very important to me.
Yeah.
And you're not helping it with my balance. So this isn't welcome right now. Please, like, step off that way for a little while. Go away.
Yeah.
Feed that.
Yeah. And
you don't owe her some kind of, it's okay what she did. You don't owe her that, and you never did.
And I'm okay with that now.
Good.
It's good to be to the point where I can recognize that. Yeah. Yeah. And even the Rain Man pops in and says, I completely understand that feeling. Some people will say or do anything that makes them feel better or okay with zero regard to how it affects others, even their most trusted companions, and then justify barbaric behavior with their own insecurities. Yeah. Straight up. Yeah.
And we don't have to excuse that.
No,
we don't have to
find
say
a way to
it's
justify
okay.
it.
And you know what? The truth of it is probably that person didn't know what the fuck they were doing, and they weren't thinking right, and they had their head up their ass for. I mean, that's probably all true.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I have to say it's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if we really want to break this down in a totally transparent way.
Mm-hmm.
What happened between you and Christina was an indication only of the relationship between you and you.
Yes.
And the self-neglect that you had of you.
Yes.
And so in a way, I mean, Christina as a factor herself is completely irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And like Rayman put here, people that will say or do anything that makes them feel better, okay, with zero regard, they almost are irrelevant, because what it comes down to is I'm only as hurtable as I am attached to your behavior.
Right.
I can only be as pained as I commission you to serve a certain condition for me.
Right.
And you commissioned her. And
I did.
And she knew that, John. Like, she knew that. So part of her was like, oh, I don't want to be this job. And part of her was like, but I want to make him, but I want him to feel okay. And I don't want to be the one that was zero regard. So she like put on some song and dance and tap danced and juggled and stood on her head and tried to make it look like this, that, or the other, when it wasn't.
Yeah.
And you really wanted it to be that. You really wanted it to be real. So you watched the whole tap dance and you were like,
yeah,
this is real. This is great.
Yeah.
And really it's an indicator of where was your relationship with you. That's all that, everything that happens to us in our life is, it's a projection. It's like a hologram image showing you where are you at with yourself and how aligned are you with yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And right now, to hear you say I'm irritated more than anything, it's fantastic, because that's necessary in that step along the way from, divorcing from that situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And being focused on you and yourself and what does John need and what does John want and what's going to make you happy.
Right.
And don't come offer me conditions. I'm not asking for you to meet any conditions. Like, I want you happy.
Trust me, I do too. And I had made progress to a degree last year, and then sort of like fell back into some things. Because we've discussed this before on the show, but those Stupid Day videos, those are what I did as a favor to myself to remind me of how much I love me and I want to like continue doing John things. Those were me refocusing on what is John. And then I also got interrupted last year because I thought like it had gotten to a point where, okay, cool, I'm making some progress. And then she showed up again, and I let myself get pulled back into but I want this to work because I want you to do the thing that I want you to do. And if you don't, and the whole thing, absolutely. And so I allowed myself to choose to get, pulled back into that. And, and then a couple more times through the end of the year, it was hard for me because every time she would show up or she would, make herself present, I kept acknowledging instead of saying, this is not okay, and I have other things to do. Well, now, I mean, I feel actually quite good for not responding, but I feel good for talking it out as well, too, and I feel good for allowing myself to be angry about it, because I hadn't before. I hadn't felt angry. I hadn't given myself...
Do you want to punch me in the face?
I love punching women. It's the one thing that brings me true joy. So the reason I loved having her on is I love punching her.
Yay! Well, there's a lot of other girls that you could...
Give a punch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this one time we had this, whenever I had that surgery and I was here and I had the black eyes and all of that,
right.
I remember saying something to you like this was one of the funniest responses I think you ever said to me, because I had these black eyes and I was like, John, I have to put a bunch of makeup on my face so people don't look at me and go, he's beating her. And you said to me, I have to put a bunch of makeup on my knuckles so people don't look at me and go, he's hitting that disgusting person. One of the funniest things. I still remember it.
I'm glad you remember that, because I don't remember that at all.
It was really funny. At least that's what I remember. I was really hopped up, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're on all kinds of drugs.
But anyway, you're mad.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God. And
maybe,
that's not where it stops. Like, there's more past that. There's still more. And it eventually truly does get to a place of non-tether at all. Like,
Yeah.
mad isn't even possible because there's no whatever.
The attachment's
yeah.
detached.
The,
It's
right,
entirely
exactly.
gone. Entirely
So that's where this heads. But oh my gosh, mad has been in the making.
It's been a good emotion to actually feel about it. Because even if I think I acknowledged it at some point, I don't think I genuinely felt it.
Break your phone. Let's bust the crap out of your
Let's break my
device.
Okay, that sounds perfect.
Where's the hammer? Let's smash it.
I have a hammer at the store.
Let's go to the store after this tonight and let's smash your phone with a hammer.
So Rain Man, one thing he pops in is the most important to always remember is that what they do and what they say in that mode is not your fault. You can act how they act, but you didn't cause their disconnect from reality. That's all on them.
What do you think?
I agree. It's interesting for me to be able to know and acknowledge these things consistently, but to still fall victim to them, you know. And for me, that is also part of the test. Like, you know, again, when this happened, you know, these two interesting things sort of in one day, it became very much the universe saying, "Hey, guy, remember, you know, like, you can make the decision again. You can totally, you know, talk to Christina. You could probably go back and you can see if this is going to work out again." And that's me setting myself up for more expectation from something that I'm saying, well, if I'm approaching this because I want this out of it.
This reminds me of a few weeks ago when we were talking about the reaction versus responding.
Yes.
And so in what happened with, okay, so what this guy said here is what made me think of that. That whatever they do or say, it's in their own mode. It's not your fault.
Right.
They act how they act. It really has more to, it's their own thing. That reminds me of what we were talking about a few weeks ago along the lines of, when I see somebody do something, when I see somebody act what they act, they're in their mode, they're doing whatever it is they're doing, I have those two choices. I either respond that and spawn that root being pledge. I either repledge where my stance is, this is where I stand, this is where I sit, this is how I interact with that thing, or I react to it. I take it and I act it out again myself.
Yeah.
So what happened whenever Christina was going was you picked that up and you went
do the same thing.
The same exact thing, rather than that stillness, that like repledging of hold up, what I'm looking for is this. So you wave around like a freaking nut and I'm staying here the way that I want to stay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that was at the time, and anytime that any of us face anything like that, one of the options that we have is I'm going to hold right here in my own stance, in my own posture, because this is what I want and what I believe in, and this is who I am, regardless of how inconsistent or wavering you are being over there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that he reminded me of that, the response versus reaction thing.
Yeah. Very powerful to put yourself in a position of control, which we can do at any point, but we have to choose to do so.
So how do you feel as compared to, 30 minutes ago?
Actually, far better. Because it's reminding me that, you know, like, I have full conviction over all my actions. I can do whatever I want. I can feel however I want to. I'm going to choose to feel angry, and I'm going to choose to be like, you know what? Later. I got other things I want to do, and I want to be happy, and I want to, you know, ultimately find somebody that makes me happy. Even if that doesn't happen, I want to be happy regardless, you know? And if this is part of the journey, if it coincides with me, that's great. If it's just me being at the store and hanging out with my cats at home, that's great. If, you know, I fly to the moon and I colonize it and have just a bunch of Nintendo set up everywhere, cool. Whatever it is, I want to be happy. I liked what you said a couple weeks ago as well, too, which is you want to just live in a constant state of bliss. And bliss can be loving the responsibility you have and following through with it. And bliss can be saying, I don't want to do this at all, and then going home and just watching a movie, eating popcorn. Cool.
Yeah.
You get to choose that. But to be happy, but the trick is to be genuinely happy, to choose genuine happiness and not just this sounds good or it'll be provided if this is met, but to do.
Right. This word condition, it keeps coming up in my mind. Like, these are the conditions that I need in my life in order for me to have true happiness.
Right.
How is that true happiness? Because it is based upon some sort of set of props or events that need to go a certain way. And if they deviate and go this way, then I can't be happy. That's a hostage situation. That's holding yourself at a hostage situation where your need is something that people may or may not meet. It may or may not even be something that you can meet on any given day. You know what I mean? Some days I can't do the things that I condition myself to. You know what I mean? And if I can't be totally chill with that about myself,
Mhm.
I'm going to be an unhappy woman walking around in the world. But like that self-acceptance and that acceptance of every situation as is,
Mhm.
as is. And right now the situation is she pops up out of freaking 8 months later
Mhm.
after ignoring you a couple times in the last 8 months.
Mhm.
And she's just saying, hey, I'm here. I want you to know.
Very weird, yeah.
I want to remind you how you felt.
And I was curious because I was like, where did this come from? Did it come with, the desire for a nostalgic feeling? Is there something that emptied her and left her wondering, hey, I wonder if this could work again? I don't know. But I thought about that for a little bit and I said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about
The
it.
word you came up with earlier was convenience. Like,
Yeah.
That was the first thing that you thought was, am I convenient for this situation or something like that?
Right. I'm pretty convenient.
Do you want to be her convenience?
No. I don't want to be anybody's convenience.
Every 8 months, be like, John, are you still paying attention to me? Good. Then I can go off and feel comfortable with you being over there thinking about me still.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't want that. I was thinking about conditional happiness, and I thought of a couple weird scenarios because I thought two things. Number one is air conditioner and hair conditioner are very, very close.
They are.
And that's weird. Those are two.
And they're pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, they're both conditional.
Air conditioning and hair conditioning.
Yeah.
They're like.
Can you condition your hair with air? And can you condition the air with hair?
Yeah.
Cool. And then the other thing is, speaking of conditional happiness, is like if you're wanting to live in a true state. This is very, very, very nirvanic. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, right. This is pretty good.
I like that right there.
I know what I'm doing. Would be walking outside after this podcast, and whether my cats are alive or dead on the ground, just festering in flies, being totally okay.
That's nice.
It is extremely.
I was gonna, while you were out of town and I was feeding your cats, I was gonna systematically torture and murder each one of them so that you could come home and practice being okay.
Yeah, exactly. Making
No
sure that I could
what.
actually follow through with it.
Yeah. I was gonna check out this condition. Just feel good.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Anyway.
Those are important for the cats to.
I just didn't have time.
It's actually very easy because all you got to do is lock the pantry door and empty their water dish. And in 4 days, they'll be mostly
4 days.
They'll be mostly dead. They'll have eaten one of the others. I guess that sustains them. So never mind. 3 of them would probably be fine.
I'm pretty sure that
They would eat pee-pee.
4 days. You think they would be okay?
After 4 days, you're pretty hungry.
Yeah,
after a day, they sit outside my room and wah, wah, and like they go nuts, pawing at my door.
Yeah.
1 day.
Yeah.
4 days, one of them would be eaten by the others.
Well, I didn't think of that.
It's a problem, Michelle, you didn't think.
I didn't think. I wasn't thinking.
I have a friend though, and this friend wrote in to me earlier, actually last week. I wanted to address some of the stuff last week, but we didn't get a chance to since we didn't do the podcast. And there's been a couple other developments with this situation, and a lot of it is my friend's a female, and she wants friends. She's a good person. She got some cool friends, but every time she tries to hang out with people, if she's not putting out, they leave. And it's happening to her consistently in such a frustrating manner. And she's like, how do you make friends? How do you find people that are going to be genuine? Because we hung out once, and she's super nice, and she's super talented, and she's super friendly, she's super pretty, and she's got all these amazing qualities. And of course, those are very attractive qualities to people. But because most people, the first thing that a lot of people want is, well, what can I get out of it, right? And so it's really like a huge deterrent. There ended up being like a problem with her best friend in jealousy.
Okay.
He takes off because ultimately, she's like, this is not a good situation because, like I got to take a step back because this is unhealthy. If we're going to be best friends, but the condition is not being met.
Like he got possessive?
Yes. Yeah. And so it's taking a really huge toll, and she's just having a really hard time trying to figure out, how do I find people who aren't going to do this to me?
What did you tell her?
Well, I said I have to think about this, and I also the reassurance of this person clearly needs some time away so he can understand that either he can continue to seek this kind of thing out from people, or if he wants to be your friend, he's got to realize that to be your friend, he's got to be your friend because he wants to be your friend and not looking for what he can take from you. Exactly. On the take is still a constant phenomenal concept. And it's, I told her basically I just sort of think about it, and we'd sort of bring it up tonight and sort of just, figure out how to address and assess and sort of see. She wanted some advice and says, you seem like you've done a pretty good job and you've been met with some success regarding these things.
Well, and interestingly, this is kind of exactly where you're at as of the last couple of days.
Right. That's also very true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're sort of the parallel perfect current example.
Is removing what is bad for you, removing what is hindering growth, or, expressing the emotion properly. And I think
the way you put it a little bit ago, I think, was right on, which was, I am not the convenience.
I'm not a
here.
convenience.
And I think that, so first of all, if that's how she worded this question, the first thing I want to say to this individual is flip your language, because the way we use language is very, very powerful, the way we use words. And not, how do I find people that won't do this to me? Like, take the other people out of that sentence and flip this to be about your own self, the relationship between you and you, which would be something more along the lines of, how do I reinforce that I am not, on the table for people? You know what I mean? Like, how do I reinforce that I am not, I don't provide this in the world, I provide this in the world. I am someone that receives good things, I am someone that gives good things, but not like, how do I find people that won't do this, but how do I be somebody that doesn't attract these situations?
So what's your advice? I mean, because to question it, sure, and to sort of like think about that, but in practice, what is the recommendation? Because as a woman, you have, I think, a higher propensity of getting situations like this. I mean, it happens to me too occasionally, but I think it happens a lot more with women, because statistically what I see anyway is that a lot more guys happen to be on the take when it comes to this kind of stuff than I've experienced personally, or most guys that I know. So woman to woman.
Are we talking about sex?
It's usually what it's coming down to, is people who are like, hey, let's hang out. Oh, you're not putting out? Cool, take it easy. Like, hey, what's going on? We should hang out. Oh, by the way, I want to touch your boobs, but like, if you're not going to let me do that, then I got other things to do.
Okay. That's an interesting question, because let's see, where does the first place my mind go to with this? The first place my mind goes to with this is that I'm wondering if this person, every time that she meets somebody and starts hanging out with somebody, is she doing the same thing that you've done, which is, I hope this works. I hope this person isn't like them. I hope this person sticks around. I hope this is a really good, you know what I'm saying? Like, is the hope very highlighted, very pedestaled? Like, I hope this is a really good friendship, and I hope this relationship works out great. And I don't want to say that having a callousness is an appropriate thing at all. But having a detachment, walking into any new relationship or old relationship or any day, having a detachment of conditions of things, it's where we are the most powerful. So when it comes to, this isn't something that I've had difficulty with for years and years and years, because I truly am now at a point where, like, a man comes into my life and I may enjoy talking to him or whatever, but truly, like, I could give two shits whether or not it's, you know what I mean, it works out in any, I don't have somebody come into my life and peg them as, I hope this is the role this person takes on. I don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, you come into my life, you show me what you have, let's see if what we have matches up. If so, cool, let's continue to hang. If not, then we don't. But it's not something that I take personally or that I experience a pain about. I don't see and I used to struggle a lot with, I had this label, this self-label internally of abandonable. I saw myself that way. You know what I mean? We all, I think, have had situations that have taught us that, oh, I could be thrown away, or I could be rejected, or something like that. I'm rejectable, I'm abandonable. And when you work through that and you stop, like, emanating some of that vibe or that frequency yourself, you don't attract people that would do that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So what I would say to this individual is, there's something in you that needs to be cleaned up, that, like, for you to look at the relationship between you and yourself, and seeing yourself as not in any way abandonable or rejectable or something
Mhm.
like that, that you are not somebody that elicits that. Getting to where you see yourself at a higher worth, at a higher level, because when we do, we don't attract people that shit on it.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Is that making sense?
It makes, yeah, it does. What I think is difficult as well too. And actually, this person's written
Cool.
down right here. So, yeah, it's very tricky because I had the pleasure of hanging out with her a couple weeks back,
Mhm.
and I mean, because what you want to attract, you put out,
Yeah.
you know, and hanging out with this person
Aww.
has never ever, like, the entire time we were hanging out, there was no question in my mind, this is a great person that should have great people in her life,
Mhm.
you know. And so it hurts me when as we're talking about everything to see that there's such a struggle with a lot of people who are continuing the same pattern over and over and over.
Mhm.
Because in my experience, when we were hanging out, I was like, you know, this person's great, and you know, whatever she's going toward, whatever she's working for, whether it's maybe with her best friend or, you know, somebody else, or, you know, but then she talked to me and cited example after example after example of
That's happened a lot.
over and over and over, and like after we hung out, recent things, and I was just like, shoot, that's really rough, because I didn't get the vibe from her. I didn't get that
Mhm.
feeling. And I mean, there's a lot of it. I think it's easy to sort of think of, you know, again, theoretically, and to know, but it can be so discouraging, and it can be so difficult. It can be so overbearing and wearing and heavy after you've tried and tried and tried. Like you said, it's not that I think your advice isn't completely legit, but if you're so buried underneath the weight of it, getting up to the point where you know you have to be to make it work can be so difficult.
It's daunting. It
It's
can be
very,
really, really daunting.
very daunting.
Like a huge jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's for some folks, because, you know, different people handle it with different ways they work things socially, or, you know, maybe there's like anxiety to overcome or depression to overcome, or a number of different issues that make this journey just more difficult for others.
Mhm.
You know, like, and there's just such a wide spectrum, and it's hard to. I mean, I agree with what you say completely, because even as a blanket statement, I think this is what you should strive towards. This is what you should grow towards, because if you can figure out of your own volition how to hit that trail, once you begin down that trail, the things that you genuinely want will come, you know? And in a lot of cases, for me, especially when I was growing up, it was a lot of my self-worth wasn't where it needed to be. And it's not to say that people don't, you know, I don't know, like, about what anybody else thinks of their own self-worth. That's not my place to judge or try to understand. Poor Wolverine was getting here so badly. But what I had to do was finally drop the people in my life that were not good for me,
Mhm.
surround myself with a finite amount of people that were, the people that were on the same level, just emotionally and spiritually and all of these things. And it wasn't that they were better or that they offered, you know, like they were superior, or that I was dropping awful people. I was just dropping people who weren't aligned with my growth.
I think it's helpful to, when you're talking about dropping people, drop people that when you're around them you don't feel good.
Yeah.
Like the people around you that help you to feel the most worthy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That those would be the best people to continue to foster those relationships.
Right.
Was that how you did that?
Yeah, I did. It was there was people that were explicitly just like, and it's not that, you know, I wasn't getting anything from them, so I couldn't take from them, therefore they were worthless to me.
Yeah.
But it was people that were not good for my productivity. They were not good for my growth. They were actually, it was more that they were hindering. Like they were, you know, they had something that allowed, that it was like a stop.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, this is a good way to talk about this. So, I mean, we can have people in our lives that exercise our self-love, that help us love ourselves.
Yeah.
That help us appreciate ourselves, that help us see the good things about ourselves.
Yeah.
And then there are people that don't. And to like make that to start deciphering that, you know what I mean? To start deciphering that. And,
Yeah.
Like sifting through those people.
Yeah.
Like it can be a very, very powerful thing, because the more we surround ourselves with people that we like how we feel around them, the more we practice liking how we feel.
Right.
The more we practice liking ourselves, the more we practice that energy. And then the more when somebody comes around that wouldn't help that energy also, the more we're not really as attracted to that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the more we practice being around people that like us and make us like us, you know, help us like us, the more we do that, the more when something that doesn't match that comes in,
Mhm.
it just sort of doesn't belong. It doesn't feel right. There's a static to it, so it's not something that we can continue to attract
Right.
in that way.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But that is how you did that, like just kind of sifting through who helps me really feel good, who am I not very good at feeling good around, and how do I sift through and really pick and choose who I spend my time and my energy and focus with.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I think that's really helpful.
I think so. What I'm looking into is because she says she has a lot to say, but she can't write in.
Can't write in, why?
Probably just because it's a lot and there's a lot to articulate. So I'm wondering if like we should do like a FaceTime call or something. And I set the phone here, we put it on speakerphone, and if it's something we can address live. I don't know if you want to try that, or if she's okay with that. I gotta plug in my phone because it's almost dead. But if that's something that we want to look into and have like a more active dialogue, to talk about it that way, that actually might be really good. I think that the speaker would probably pick it up just fine, but I'm curious to see sort of how that works. So I'm gonna hit her with a quick message and just ask. Okay, we're gonna find out here. Okay, all right. So yeah, that's actually totally fine. Let me go grab my my cable so we can charge this.
You don't have one in here?
Not in here, no. Just in my bedroom.
Do you need me to move anything for it?
No, we're totally good.
Cool. Bueno. So he'll be back with that in a minute, and then we'll go ahead and get that done. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to talking to you. And in no way, I know that sometimes when I'm talking about stuff, like I have a tendency to be, there's abrupt. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's go plug this into one of these. Should be good. Yeah, we don't have to mention any names or anything of the sort. So we're gonna go ahead and give you a Facebook call, if that's okay. Okay, let's see. And I think that's all right. I'm getting one more final message written here so we can check it all out. Okay.
Not at all. And that's actually one of the, no, not at all. Mm-mm.
Oh, were you guys, okay. All right, we're going to try this out.
This is neat.
This is neat, right? Yeah, this could be a very different format. I haven't tried this before, so we'll see how well it works.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I'm actually one of the. Yeah, no, not at all.
Oh.
Whoa.
We can hear the feedback coming in from the other end. So if you want to like mute your computer or something.
Hi.
That was really weird.
That was weird. Okay. All right, still there?
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, but we can also hear ourselves like 10 seconds ago.
Oh shoot. Hello. Okay.
Okay. If you just have your computer muted, you'll be fine since we'll be on like an active dialogue right now.
Okay, let me go get my headphones really fast so I can hear you still.
That'd be perfect.
1 second.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, this should actually work quite well. This I think will be a.
That was so weird.
It was weird. All right.
But I've never done this before. This is interesting. I'm
it
very
is.
honored.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Really cool. Hold on a second.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Absolutely. And to anybody else who's watching, let us know how well you can hear this additionally, so we know how to, sort of set things up.
Okay, and so one of the things that you said was that you had a lot to say, but you couldn't write in, and maybe it was too much. What do you want to start with? What is something that you would have wanted to comment, but it just felt like too much to write in?
Oh, well, it wasn't that I didn't have, I just couldn't figure out how.
Fair.
There's no place for me to write, but it's just this whole thing of like wanting to defend myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily defend myself, but basically my situation is that I have this mentality of I want to be accepting and just loving of everyone, and I've had a lot of really close friends, and I think it's probably a lot of the hobbies and the people I meet through that. I'm a little naive, but one of my hobbies and the way that I meet a lot of people is actually through skating. I am an avid skateboarder, and there are a lot of jerks there, so it's not fun. But I get along better with guys. I'm very sarcastic. I have a sense of humor that not all women really get because they're not so good at teasing people, and I'm very good at making fun of myself and coming up with patronizing retorts to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And basically my problem is that every single time I seem to get close to someone, they always confess feelings for me, and then they can't handle it. And they don't mean to be mean to me, but they just get upset and jealous when I'm not into them. And recently, this is my 8th best friend, you could say, in the past 5 years that has developed feelings for me and then just taken it out on me. And I'm maybe just not the best judge of character, but I just want to give people the benefit of the doubt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like I've never had luck. I've known this last friend since I was a freshman in high school, but I've always been an honor student, and he was complete opposite. But we came together because we have the same sense of humor. I'm very good with puns. Wordplay is my thing. And so we got along really well because we shared that aspect. But it just, and had never felt closer with someone, but he wanted it to be a relationship, and I didn't. And it was actually when I was hanging out with John, he actually literally thought me hanging out with John was a date, and John was there for that, and he got really jealous, and it was ridiculous.
And you guys, you never dated before, right?
Huh?
You never dated him?
No, God, no.
Okay, so you've always just been best friends. Yeah.
The whole situation, I guess, and I don't know if it's okay if I get a little personal. No one knows who I am.
As much as you need to, as much as you're comfortable with. Yeah.
But basically, I've identified as a lesbian for the past few years, just because I haven't been able to be okay with men, just because I've always been into women more, but because of a whole bunch of sexual trauma, actually from one guy friend, I thought we were really close friends. We'd been downhill boarding for years together, and he, when I rejected him, he didn't talk to me for 2 months, and then was like, let's go out. And then he kept buying me drinks and then took advantage of me. And that was really hard. And I just haven't had any interest in guys since then. And then when I told him I'd been, getting help for that, and I said, well, I might actually be into guys, he just flipped out because he couldn't handle the idea of me wanting to date someone.
People that weren't him.
In particular, a guy.
Yeah.
So this is more along the lines of like you'll develop really close relationships with people, and when they don't get what they want or what they have decided they want to derive, that then they get like somehow emotionally or verbally like unkind.
Yeah.
Or like
exactly.
some almost like an emotionally
some
violent kind of thing will
people
come
that I
out.
meet, I really love being kind to everyone. I love making people smile. It's kind of my favorite thing to do, actually, is to make people who look like they're having a bad day. I'll tell them one of my awful jokes or something along those lines. John can probably tell you. I think I told him like 1 or 2.
Yeah, several. It was good. It was very good.
Yay! Well, I don't know if they think that I'm into them, no matter if I tell them that, hey, I won't be into you. They'd always try and sleep with me. Like a couple nights after, I told my friend that I couldn't talk to him for a while. This guy, we went back to my house to play guitar because I play guitar and he did too, and I really like playing with people. And he came back to my apartment and I had no idea what was going on. And he came and like put his hand around my hip, and I legitimately thought that he just wanted to play guitar with me. And it was a real bummer. And that seems to be pretty much every single person I meet. And it doesn't matter how I meet them. And I really give everyone equal chance, but it seems that I don't know. I just keep trying, and I won't give up. I'm going to keep continuing to try and grow as a person, but it's really hard. And I just feel like people only want one thing from me, and it's really hard.
Is this something that you have experience with where because you have a lot of female friends?
I do have a lot of female friends.
And have you had the experience a lot of times where you develop a friendship with somebody and then they are wanting something later that you're like, well, that's actually not what I'm doing. I'm trying to be friends with you.
It has happened before.
This has happened, right?
It has happened before. It's not a terribly common thing, but yeah, I mean, I've been down that path, and I've also, had my relationships. Well, Juanita. I mean, we've talked about this in the show before. With one of my best friends, had a very difficult time with me, being,
moving on, dating.
Yeah, being just a friend when she wanted more than that, and so that's been a very tricky situation. But it hasn't happened a lot outside of like that scenario, someone I previously dated. But I think there have been.
Have you had the experience of people actually? Because what it sounds like, she's talking. What it sounds like you're talking about is that there's an emotional violence that will come out, like where you've had somebody become really angry and like, you didn't give me what I wanted, and accusing you of hurting them in some way, or like leading them on or in some way or something.
That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's just, I especially didn't see it coming with James. Sorry, excuse me. Why did I say his name?
That's okay.
It's okay.
My friend.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's just, I really thought this was going to be okay, because it's this whole thing of, oh yeah, we're really good friends. We're really good friends. We're going to be friends forever. But oh, hey, wait, I actually wanted this from you, and it seems like we're close enough that that's a good option. But, oh shoot, you don't want that? Well, I'm going to manipulate. This last time, he literally manipulated me into a date because by saying, if I quit smoking and drinking for 3 weeks, then you have to go on a date with me. And because I really cared about him, I wasn't going to say no, but I didn't want to say yes. And eventually he took that back because he realized it was a really shitty thing to do to someone. Excuse my language.
Okay.
And then he just progressively turned into more of a jerk. I also wound up the next day. I wind up on dates I don't know are dates a lot of the time, like 6 in the past year.
Like you go to hang out with somebody
more
and then
than any date I went on one date that I knew was a date.
Sure.
And the rest were not.
Sure.
That I wasn't aware of.
Okay.
And I went on one, and he flipped out and was like, just, well, how can you say this, that you feel hurt? How can you say this? You just went on a date. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, his language was very violent. And yeah, he resented me, even though he didn't want to. He still resented me and took it out on me.
So then you find out that these people that have offered friendship, it turns out, surprise, it's actually not authentic, because once I didn't get what I wanted, then I no longer really do care about how you feel or what it is that is best for you.
Was that a question towards me?
Like,
yeah.
It's just sort of a restatement. Like,
yeah,
just a restatement. Like, that's what that sounds like to me, is that, I mean, because sometimes I think we've all had that happen where we have people in our lives that care about us genuinely, authentically, and then when we don't deliver or perform in some way that they had anticipated or expected, then all of a sudden we're like, oh wow, this wasn't real care that they were showing me to begin with.
Yeah, and that's the truth. It's 100%. It's not genuine love. It's this whole thing of, I think I love you, but it's actually towards a goal versus, oh, this is a mutual friendship. I want to be here because I care about you and I have fun with you. I'm not objectifying you or wanting anything more than your friendship and your company.
And I can understand how sometimes somebody can get carried away and like, wow, I'm really into this person. But then, when it's like, no, that's not really what I want, and that person actually turns and gets unkind, that's a whole other thing. Like, it's one thing for somebody not to want to date you, and then you're like, okay, well, I'll figure out how to just be platonic again because I care about you for real. And it's a totally other thing to be like, well, in that case, you're not worth much to me. Thanks a lot, you shrew, or whatever.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
That's intense. That's
Yeah.
really wow.
That happens about half the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
The other
Wow.
half, they genuinely care about me and they want to be platonic because they still want me in their life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is not just a me thing, but then they
Mhm.
can't actually do it, and I have to say, hey,
Yeah.
so you're actually really hurting me, and you're hurting yourself by trying this hard.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, my friend and I are going to try, but I told him that he can't, like, that we shouldn't talk for a month. And so right now, it kind of made me depressed because a whole bunch of stuff happened.
Yeah.
But, so we're just not talking for a bit. But, gosh, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought because I'm usually about to go to bed by now.
No, that's fine. You're fine.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of hard. And also, I feel like I'm just talking to my paramedic right now because I had to pause the podcast. It's like I'm talking to myself.
That's fine. You're good. You're good. He's there to listen.
He is. I think it's pretty great. It's 3D. And
Oh,
it's a great
yeah.
straw. It's pretty great.
That's
No
cute.
spill. It's perfect for me.
That's perfect. Okay. But no, I mean, I can empathize with this on several levels as well, simply because I know the difficulty of having to deal with a friend who wants more than to be a friend, and it happens to both men and women, and it's very frustrating. It's very hard because it's a crappy position for somebody to put you in, because it throws sort of like an unnecessary weight on something that can be fully functional without it. But one of my best friends, I brought up earlier, was Juanita, one of my favorite people on the whole planet. And we had a relationship for a couple of years, and it just, there are times when I had to step away as well too. And I mean, for 6 months at a time, a year at a time, like really trying to figure out how I could best approach this and what would be best for her. And it's hard for me to say what she needed from it because I couldn't answer to that.
Well, she had a really specific, she wanted the relationship to continue as an intimate, she wanted to stay together.
Right.
Right. And it wasn't what you wanted. And what you were offering her was, I want to be your best friend forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
But she still wanted another thing.
Right.
And it made it really, 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 really hard.
On a lot of different levels, because if I wasn't meeting certain conditions, the friendship couldn't happen.
Right.
Or if certain conditions were met,
well, or if there were
happen.
other, like, just like, just like you're talking about, if there was another female in John's life, and John didn't have to be dating anybody, he could just be hanging out with other females, and there would be an enormous jealousy.
There was still intrusiveness.
Yeah. that would flare up. And I mean, I remember you handling that sort of similar to what we're talking about now, which is like just this, like, stepping away and this dance, this back and forth, like trying to stay friends, but how do we stay friends? And this person steps back, and then this person steps back, and it's just this huge mess thing that kind of happens. But did it resolve with her eventually? Or is it still?
I can't tell.
Okay.
Because we don't hang out nearly as much. We don't communicate nearly as much. And a lot of it is due in part to the fact that I am so busy.
Let's get off the Juanita subject.
Yeah.
You and I have dated.
Yes.
You and I have dated.
We have, twice.
A couple of times. And
Yeah.
we met like 7,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And grew up together.
Mhm.
And we've dated, and you see me involved with somebody now.
Yeah.
I see you involved with people when you're involved with people.
Yeah.
And this is something that we've gone through for years and years, is watching each other date people or at sometimes being involved with each other.
Right.
And the way that we have maintained that friendship without a jealousy thing, really, I think is a good platform to kind of base this from. Because what is it that you do in your mind, or what is it that you do with yourself in order to watch me be with somebody and it doesn't bother you? How do you do that?
I realize, and I mean, it's interesting because given our history, I've actually got several women that I have dated that they're dating other people now, and I'm infinitely okay with it. Like, it's not
Michelle
even like a click.
and Lex
And exactly. And it's very exciting for me because I realized that I never lost anything from these people. I don't have anything less with you now than I ever did.
Right.
I've got more. I found out, I mean, my relationship with you now is better than it's ever been. With Lex, it's better than it's ever been. And that to me is more valuable because, again, there's actually it's the unconditional that we were talking about.
And Lex isn't jealous when you date somebody. I'm
No.
not jealous when you date somebody.
Right. You're supportive. And that's why I want to be supportive of you.
So I think it really comes down in a lot of ways to, what you and I have worked out, and what I would hope that, some of the friends that you meet, and come across that what people can work out is that they have their highest priorities. This person is important to me because our humor matches. This person is important to me because our philosophy on treating people well matches.
Right.
You know, this person matters to me for these reasons, and that those things they're still intact whether you're in a relationship with somebody or not in a relationship with somebody. So I think, you know, really dissecting, looking at what are the main things that we value each other on. Is this person valuing me for my humor above all else? Is this person valuing me for these things above all else? You know, I think that can be a really, really helpful thing too, because I understand that how we can miss the that message of, oh wow, this person just wants to get with me or whatever.
Right.
But if that foundation really is authentically humor and how do we treat people and niceness and liking to do similar things together, there's more of a chance of that relationship staying intact when one person isn't interested. Yeah.
Something that I had mentioned, we actually talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago, and I had mentioned in like a Facebook post I had posted maybe like a week ago, was the concept of friend zone.
Oh yeah.
And it's in. And it was honestly like, I know it's like this word has like the biggest taboo because people think friend zone is me not getting what I want when I want it.
Yeah.
And that's really all there is to it, right?
Straight up, I know I said this a couple weeks ago, but like, if somebody hates to be in my friend zone, being friends with me is that horrible.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to date you if being friends with me is such a torture for you?
Right. Exactly. But you know, and I still want to continue to talk to you about some of this, but it's a new perspective about friends in the friend zone and what it means to be in the friend zone. And the friend zone is the part of, I mean, the best relationships in the world can stem from the fact that friends are where it begins. You know, I want to be your friend first and foremost, because if I can lay that foundation down, everything else that's built upon, even if it gets knocked down, I'm still your friend. And if you can, you know, really like solidify that genuinely with somebody, anything built on top of it is simply like, that's an amazing extra. That's an amazing bonus if it happens to be. But if that condition isn't met, I've still got this amazing person that I would do anything for no matter what. My friend.
Yes.
And a great relationship can be built out of a friendship. And I recommend it most, times, is being friends with somebody first and maintaining a friendship for a while before you move on to anything else is the best place to start. And you can also gauge whether or not you think it's going to work on a relationship level, but you're still keeping this person because you want them in your life.
Okay. And so here we're talking to, I'm gonna call you Lydia. I'm just making up a name. So we're talking to Lydia here.
Right.
And so Lydia, you because she's saying that she's been friends with these people for a long time, and then it turns in this weird, funky direction.
Correct.
Going a different way. And I want to ask you, is there a part of you that feels guilty for not caring back about some of these guys the same way?
Well, rationally, I really don't. I know that it's not my fault in any way, shape, or form. But a couple of them have made me feel pretty guilty at points.
Sure.
Like, recently, he actually called me drunk. This is one of the reasons I told him I couldn't talk to him. He called me drunk and just told me all the reckless things he was doing, and he was doing a whole bunch of stupid things that he knew I would care about. It was like I punched a hole in the wall. Then I'm going to go out and do a whole bunch of stupid things. I'm chain smoking because I feel really crappy. I had a panic attack.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
So it's, pretty much. And then, he apologized for it because he knows he was wrong. But at the same time, it's his whole, it's resentment that they don't want to have against me, but I think it's against the situation. But I still feel kind of guilty because I empathize with them and I really care about how they feel.
Yeah.
Because, we're friends and I feel bonded with them. But it just, I just feel a little bad. I'm trying to separate myself from it. But I just wanted to say that you guys were talking about that. I have a lot of respect for John, and I don't know you. I've never met you in person. But it just seems like you guys are okay with yourself. And there's this whole concept of codependency, which I think is something that media and cinema has taught us. That we need a relationship to complete ourselves. And a lot of people, I think, have internalized that quite thoroughly, and so when they feel like they need something from it, it's not a real relationship, it's a codependency, so you need it. You're very insecure and you're afraid to be on your own, and I think that has a lot to do with it in my friend and a lot of people I've seen, because people are afraid to be alone, and so when you're not getting what you want, it's scary, because you just want them to be around.
yeah, people like feel like they're a failure if they haven't,
Yeah.
achieved that milestone, and that's why a lot of people end up settling, is because they say, well, I've got the trophy, but it doesn't matter how I got it.
Yeah.
I have this, so I can prove to the world that I'm worthwhile to somebody else, no matter what the relationship's actually like.
Right.
Yeah, and that can be such a dangerous place, and it builds so much resentment. And it's, yeah, Hollywood has taught a lot of people that that's the only goal. It doesn't matter how you get it, find that and things will work out. And that's a very dangerous.
Well, and if you don't, then somehow your worth is less than.
They're right, exactly.
So it puts people on the defensive. Like,
Yeah,
I
being-
have to have this thing, otherwise
Right.
I am not of the caliber that I'm supposed to be
Yeah,
at.
I'm the third wheel, or
Right.
I'm classified as something lesser.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a frustrating spot to be in.
Codependency is a good topic that's a perfect way to talk about this, because
Mhm.
it sounds like a lot of that. It sounds like there are some people
Mhm.
that you've known in your life that aren't operating from unconditional love, but codependency, which is what we were talking about with John earlier in the Christina situation.
Mhm.
That some of that really was codependency, and that's where the pain comes from. So
Right.
some of these guys that you've been involved with, I mean, they're doing the codependent thing, and they're doing it to themselves.
Yeah.
It's all in them.
Yeah, it completely is.
No one can make someone else feel anything. It's all up to the person.
Right.
It can be influenced,
100%.
but it's all up to the individual person how they feel. No one
Right.
can make anyone else feel that for themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just saying. And it's people really need to think hard about that, because
Mhm.
people really have a hard time separating themselves from other people and really thinking about. I don't know. Sorry, I'm.
No,
once again talking
continue.
with
You're
my
great.
Charmander cup.
You're good. You're good. Charmander's listening. Yeah.
So
I'm not a part of this podcast. Sorry, guys. I'm not trying to steal.
No, you're good. Trust me.
No.
This is what the
I really
podcast is
think about this
about.
a lot,
No, this
because
is
I'm
what
trying
it's
to figure
for.
out,
Yeah, this is literally what the whole thing is for.
learn from every single friendship and relationship I've had.
Hmm.
So it's
Mhm.
this whole thing of I think about this a lot, so I'm excited to be a part of this podcast.
Of course.
Trying so hard not to just talk too much.
No, you're good.
No, you're
I
fine.
promise you, this is exactly what it's for.
This is what I'm talking about, Lydia. You need to deal with the guilt thing, because you don't need to be apologizing to us right now.
That's
In
not
fact-
my biggest flaw. It's basically I would say, I'm notorious for it. It's my insignia.
Mhm.
Right.
It's one of the first words I learned in sign language is a joke.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, we are taught to be sorry for a lot of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, that's true. So what I want to say to you right now is, I think that we should just tonight, go back and rename this Lydia's podcast or something,
Sure.
because you don't need to be apologizing to us for this is what I want to encourage you to do is start to erode that guilt thing, because you deserve to talk as much as you freaking need to, and you deserve to have as many friends that aren't on the take as you freaking want.
Mhm.
And to really allow yourself that permission, and to really allow yourself that worth, because you're not hijacking anything. This is totally what this is for.
Yep.
And that's what those friendships are supposed to be for. You know what I mean? You're not hijacking anything by not getting involved with somebody on a level you don't want to.
Right.
It's not like you used them for friendship. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't, and you weren't taking advantage of anybody.
Nope.
So
Just so you guys know, I may say sorry a lot. I used to be very apologetic and very insecure about myself,
Mhm.
but through my experience, it's just kind of a habit at this point.
Mhm.
I actually think very highly of myself.
Good. Yeah.
In many
Good.
ways, in many respects, I'm very proud of who I am. So it's not really that I feel very guilty. I'm actually very confident, but I do say sorry,
Habitual.
and I'm overly polite.
Sure.
It's something that I'm way too respectful. I guess you could say.
That's fair.
I'm really, really not super. I don't hate myself too much. Occasional, oh my god, I just ate that entire bag of chips, which literally just happened. I finished in less than 24 hours. I ate a family size. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Party pack thing of chips. I'm ashamed to admit I'm addicted to.
Were they delicious?
They were amazing.
Then that's
Josh.
okay. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
I would let you taste some, but they're all gone.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy for you then that you ate the whole bag.
Saying sorry a lot actually reminds me of something, because I had an employee, and he was sort of interning at my shop for a while, and he was young, he was very hardworking, and he did his best to do a good job. He also apologized regularly, and so I said, "Why do you apologize to me?" And he goes, "Oh, well, I don't know." And I said, "Well, then don't apologize, because you didn't do anything wrong." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I won't do it anymore." I said, "Don't apologize. To me, never again say I'm sorry. don't ever. Like, I just, and he goes, I know it's a habit, but he was actually sort of conditioned because of home life where it was difficult. And from my understanding, it was hard for him due to, I think, an overbearing father. So, I mean, he basically had to a lot. But I said, when you're in my store, you never need to apologize for me because you're never going to do something so wrong that you need to apologize. If something comes up, you take ownership of what you've done, and we'll talk about it. But you don't have to, like,
you don't have to live on eggshells here.
You don't have to do anything of the sort. And so then, he apologized for apologizing. And so I said, like, you're basically on apology probation. This is something for me you don't need to do. I want to condition you to realize that you don't owe me apologies ever. I said, and one day something happened at the store, and he was freaking out. Like, he was so panicky because he entered a number in wrong. And he called me, and he was like, he thought he was just going to die. And so I actually was coming down to that store that evening. I said, we'll talk about it then. And I walk in, he says, I'm so sorry, sir. I really didn't mean to do this. And I said, what happened? Is somebody hurt or dead? And he said, well, no. And I said, then we're fine. We will work through whatever it is that you think you did. But if no one was damaged during this entire ordeal, it's doable.
Yeah.
It's fixable. So don't worry. And it got to the point where I think he got a lot better about it. But it's interesting to see that, it's sort of like a preemptive, I don't even know what I'm sorry for, but I'm sorry. And not that, you, Lydia, are doing this, but it's something that I actually do see very often. And I think I used to apologize a lot to people as well. And I finally sort of got out of that habit. It took me a bit to get used to it because once it's conditioned, it's there. But I honestly believe you don't owe anybody an apology.
No.
Because it's part of your growth. Any experience is part of your growth. Any accidental hurt you do. I mean, I think it's courteous to apologize, but you don't owe it to anybody. If you want to extend that courtesy to them, that's one thing.
Yeah, nobody's entitled to our sorriness.
Yeah.
That we need to feel so bad and somebody's entitled to me feeling bad. What is that?
Yeah.
But I mean, every American, especially every female, like we're conditioned to feel, like, oh, I'm taking up too much space. Oh, I'm taking up too much time. Oh, I'm talking too much. Oh, I'm bothering. Oh, I shouldn't call so much. We're all taught that. Like, you've been through that. You've been taught that. I've been taught that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I don't know. We all grow out of it, hopefully.
So that guy, like, I also grew up with a similar situation, except I got bullied a lot in school.
Okay.
So I can relate to him.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, because it comes from somewhere. There's an experience that conditions it, so it does have to come from somewhere, and that's understandable. Yeah, and a lot of things that we do learn can take a lot of time to unlearn when they're things that aren't necessarily conducive. They're not necessary. So.
Yeah. Especially if it started at a young age.
Exactly.
I missed part of that. I'm not gonna lie, because one of my friends called me and I had to explain why I couldn't answer. She was like, "You go be cool." It was flattering, but still, that happened. So if I missed something, that time I'm sorry.
No.
I'm guilty of that one. That was
You owe us an apology.
Yeah. Don't ever. Right.
That's funny.
So in terms of what you think is the next best step for you, I mean, recognizing where you are and recognizing what you want, what is it that you see that is going to be the next logical step for, how you want to get something better for you or attract something better for you? Where do you see that first step with your current position?
Well, right now, I mean, I'm just focused on my goals. I'm graduating, finally. From UNM.
Congrats.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
With double major and honors.
Cool.
So right now I'm focusing on that and then getting a career path started. And the way that I see it is that is my main goal and my main focus is taking care of myself, see who I meet along the way, and try not to get caught up in anything or sacrifice my life for any other person, because that's where I'm going right now. But it would be really nice to have, a few close friends to hang out with after a stressful day, do something with.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, so I'm looking for that. I actually have a lot of really good friends, but they are all living in different cities. It's falling apart. But,
yeah. No, absolutely.
So that's my current goal, and that's how I see it. It's just really hard because it just sucks feeling alone, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely, it does. What do you think?
I think that she's fantastic, and I think that it's terrible to be so irresistible, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't see it, but right now I have my head held very majestically to the side, and I'm brushing off my shoulders.
Yeah,
It's
right.
a very condescending and noble manner. My arm is now on the chair, still looking cool.
Yeah.
I'm still looking cool.
So-
Yeah, teeth glistening in the moonlight, shades drawn. I mean, like,
Oh
well,
man, it's not even moonlight. It's just this random sun ray has just popped through the roof of
an
my
actual
apartment.
sun ray, yeah.
It's shining down on me, and I swear Zeus is calling my name.
Exactly.
Recognition is appreciated. Thank you.
Be careful, because Zeus is only after one thing if you read all the mythology.
That's true, yeah, basically.
I mean, it's just Greek myth. You never know. Maybe he's actually a really nice guy.
Go find out.
Let's be
That's
honest.
true, yeah. Go hang out with him and see what he wants. Yeah.
Before he seduced you.
All right.
Okay.
Sense of humor there. Yay.
That's good. That's most important. That one for me was a very big deflection for a lot of difficulty. As you might have seen with some of my silly videos, they're all a response to my own difficulty. Every one of those, all humor, and a lot of comedians do this. This is, it's a very tried and true sort of method of mass.
Yeah, Louis C.K.
Louis C.K., a man who sees a lot of wonderful things. He's a brilliant guy, and he's got pain. He's got difficulty. He's got, a lifetime of hardness behind him. But his outlet
Well,
is...
his hilarity comes from that agony.
Oh, it's great.
He's
yeah.
so funny because he's been so wounded.
That's true. I love it. Yeah. I can't wait. So, like, here's what's going to happen is I want to find somebody, and one day I'm going to be like, you know what? I want this to be the funniest person ever, and I'm going to abuse them so much.
There you go.
So that way in 30 years, I can be like, this is the funniest comedian I've ever going to meet.
Awesome. That's a good idea.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Sup?
Funny.
That was a joke, I promise.
No,
Just in case. I'm not actually hitting on you, John.
No,
Just so you know. But,
I
I'm
know.
rubbing my gootee in a rather flirtatious fashion.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what usually gets me, though.
I'm jealous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm feeling jealousy right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is this?
Yeah, who is she?
Who is she?
Yeah.
Why are you talking to her?
We were just talking about this codependency.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you can't go there.
Man.
hang up on her. Who is that?
Yeah. Having to really rewrite what Hollywood has taught us
Yeah.
is crazy, because it really teaches you that, like, God, I mean, well,
It does. Like, that's where our main worth is.
yeah.
My God.
What's hard too is that a lot of music does the same thing. You complete me. There's a lot of really romanticized ideas that I feel bad because they're beautiful things to hear. They're so, oh, that's so sweet that he would say this. But I mean, like, it's easy to get caught up in the concept of you complete me, or you're, I'm nothing without you, or, all these conceptual romantic ideas that are truly like, I believed them. During the Heather situation, every time a romantic song would come on, it'd be like, you're my only one, or like, it was a really dangerous path to go down, even though it's seemingly innocuous. Like, it's a really powerful thing that can pull you in without you realizing it into creating a codependency so hard, but because it sounds romantic, you justify it. Because if love is the answer, and I do believe that, true love is the answer, projected love, conditional love, all of those things that teach us that love has to be met with something, not the answer. And it's everywhere. That is the prominent message. And relearning all of that and undoing all of that message, that's a hell of an endeavor, because it's everywhere. It's still everywhere. It's always all over the place.
You're forgetting that it's also telling you, oh crap, what did I miss? It was sorry, I've had a glimpse of myself in the mirror. I forgot it's Narcissus, right? Narcissus.
Yeah, exactly.
Self in the mirror. I totally lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
But it's internalized because it's a huge part of our culture, and it's a complete misconception of what love is, and people confuse this whole idea of it's my entire goal in life, and they kind of confuse infatuation for actual love and a real relationship, like 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw in that it teaches you not only that you need a relationship, shows you completely an awful relationship of
Yeah.
Disney.
Like,
Oh, Prince
yeah.
Charming. We've never met, but we're totally in love. That's infatuation by definition. That's not love.
right.
It's
Yeah.
a whole bunch of hormones, oxytocin. Your endocrine system is like, yo, I like you.
Uh-huh.
You're hot. Let's bone. But just kidding. I like you too. I think that because my frontal lobe is trying to say something, but it's really just your endocrine system being a bitch. Sidetracked. My bad.
No, that's it. I mean, this is all on track. This is all very, very much the same message because it really, it's everywhere. It propagates all over the place.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a nonstop message that, I mean, shoot, even though it seems unrelated, I was driving down Montgomery the other day and there's a big billboard that's like, hey, you think you're too fat or whatever? Well, try liposuction. This is the easiest way to do it. Because the value is if we're skinnier, we're more wanted, therefore more worthwhile, we'll attract the proper mate. And if somebody likes us because we look good, boom, we've made it. Even like on that level.
I did it.
You know, yeah, right, exactly. I got rid of the fat so the boy will like me so he can get married.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really easy thing to get caught up on everywhere because it's literally all over the place. Yeah, Prince Charming. The 50 Shades of Grey thing is really interesting because it also teaches that, you know, what is your actual value to a person, you know, and why would it sound romantic? It sounds hot because it's exciting and it's unknown and it's dangerous and mysterious.
Well,
you know?
and it was like a corrupting thing for
Yeah.
this, like that, who that book was written about.
Yeah.
She's this really innocent person, and so it was like a corruption, that whole series of books.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, weird.
Did you read it?
No.
It's so, oh my gosh. I read those and I started skipping after the second or third sex scene. I started skipping them because this is just my opinion. I felt like each single sex scene, it might as well have been copied and pasted. They were not, I didn't feel like there was any variety at all. I was like, how is this considered like woman porn when it's the same sex scene over and over and over when there's like no variety? That's totally what I thought.
It actually gives me a great idea for my next fan fiction,
What?
which is
Oh,
like,
yeah, I do it.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write a sex scene like where they're in an elevator or whatever, and then no matter where they are from that point on, I just copy and paste the elevator sex
That's
scene.
how that was.
Yeah.
That's how those books were.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Whether
you.
they're on an airplane or they're in the jungle or like they got trapped in a mine or whatever it is, like the moment that things start getting hot and sweaty, he presses her up against the elevator, they accidentally hit the 50th floor, and then they, you know, climax all the way to the top.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's gonna be completely like, yeah. So
It's been a while since one of your fan fictions.
it has been a while. I gotta
I
get back
love
into it.
them.
Yeah, they're pretty fun to write.
I like when you put me in them. I think they're funny.
Yeah, you have been in one or two. That is funny.
I've been in the
You were
One
50
with-
Shades of Grey, right?
no, not 50 Shades of Grey. The Yaris. The
Oh, it was one of the Twilight ones.
one of the Twilight ones.
Yeah, those are
It was
pretty-
about Jacob. I was in that.
Oh yeah, because I
one.
was Team Wolfman.
Yeah.
So
something
yeah,
like that.
you were in and well,
Anyway.
yeah.
Just once because I have the honor of being the only one who can like physically tell you this or more, you know, verbally. You guys are my heroes right now.
Oh.
Why is
It's
that?
fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
That was a beautiful conversation. Glorious.
Yeah. This is basically what we talk about all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. This
And
is
then-
what we do whether we're on a podcast or just hanging
It comes
out.
out of this a lot.
This is kind of what we
That's
do.
the only way to do it, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
Insane.
And I think it's funny because I think our conversation is actually generally more abusive offline, which is better because I think it confuses
They're
people
really,
less.
they're a lot worse.
But we say a lot of really terrible things to each other completely
You didn't say anything
It's not
mean
a
to
real
me
friendship.
Yeah, I did.
People don't
What?
question if you hate each other.
about your song.
That's the thing is you have to question if you actually appreciate each other or if
Yeah.
you're just a sarcastic piece of, you know.
No, yeah. No, absolutely.
John's a sarcastic piece of shit.
Yeah, well.
You haven't said anything mean to me on here.
Oh,
I know
on tonight, on this.
earlier, before we came over
Yeah, when
here,
you're-
you were mean to
When
me.
you were
but
just messing up on your guitar when
Yeah,
you were trying to show
thanks.
me that song.
shut up, idiot. But tonight you have,
Sorry.
yeah,
I
yeah.
that song on
Yeah.
too.
And I don't skateboard. I snowboard though.
She does. Yeah, she skateboards in the snow.
It's beautiful. You can't like shave off large layers of your skin doing that.
No, not exactly.
Someday when I actually make enough money to go snowboarding, I'll be there with you.
Yeah, exactly. You guys have a snowboarding party.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I have a lot of obscure hobbies that are awesome. I just want to say that I'm awesome.
They're pretty awesome.
Do you skateboard?
Do I skateboard?
Yeah.
Oh no, I cannot. It's weird. I have a good sense of balance.
No, you don't.
I do, but not on a skateboard.
No, you
See,
don't.
I do, yeah.
John, that's the opposite. You can have mine. I have an excellent sense of balance on my skateboard, but then I managed to hurt myself falling out of buses and things like that.
Yeah.
I fractured my. Actually, no. I finally hurt myself skating. I fractured my ankle the other day.
Oh, right.
Congratulations!
Yay.
But usually, I literally sprained my thumb by sitting on it.
Oh, that's right. She did. She was sitting down too fast and sat on her
So I
thumb.
can skateboard. People are like, "Oh my gosh, she's drunk. Someone put her on a skateboard. She'll be better off." Yeah. So you can switch with me. Honestly, I'd rather be able to walk without having to worry.
That's true. Yeah, you are very
Skateboard,
accident
you
prone
can
off
take
the
it, take
skateboard.
it.
Yeah.
Take it, John.
I cannot
Have it.
skateboard. Yeah, to save my life. I don't know. I tried when I was younger, and I just didn't do it. I just spent all my time on tight ropes. That never happened. Tightrope walking.
Okay. Good.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't have much other to think.
Jason came back with one thing, and he said, "The funniest people are the ones who have had to deal with the most pain." Robin Williams comes to mind. No one had any idea how much pain he was until he was gone.
Yeah.
And it's very, very true. That pain can breed a lot of really incredible things, but it still has to be, acknowledged and treated. And there's such a variety of ways to do that. And sometimes it's finding the right people that'll listen, and sometimes there's, I don't know. I don't even know. I've never heard of you.
No. What's your name?
Steve.
Steve?
Yeah.
You don't look like a Steve.
Well,
You look like a douche.
douche
You
Sakura.
look like your name would be douche.
Douche guy.
Douche guy.
That's fair. So Lydia.
Is Lydia still there?
Yes, I can respond. I know my name
Good.
now.
Okay, yeah, the new name. Yeah, I'm Steve.
It'll take a little while to get used to,
Right, no, absolutely. It's that's people change their names. Like, I think it's a really fascinating idea that the names, 99.9% of us didn't have any say in that
Yeah.
because it happened before we were born. I'm John, and I will go my whole life being okay with that, but it wasn't my choice in any way.
No.
My pets didn't name themselves.
Mm-mm.
I named them. I took complete control.
Revolver Vomit Bomb.
Yeah, that is her name. It's on her collar.
Revolver Vomit Bomb.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Senator Larry B. Jones is Larry's full name.
Mm-hmm.
He's a senator.
PP is just PP.
PP is just PP, and Penelope is just Penelope.
Yeah.
They don't have special names.
Nope.
It's normal.
Milo does.
Milo?
Yeah, you met my cat, remember?
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine is Milo DiCaprio. So
That's,
he's a
that's
pretty
awesome.
boy. So DiCaprio.
That's pretty cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
She has
Just
some
because we're
cute
throwing
cats.
in cat names, and I am also an avid cat lover.
She is. Yeah. It's great. It's
Cool.
it's a good sign. If you have a cat, we're good.
I like cat people.
I do too.
I feel like we're more honest about that we're actually just assholes. Just
Yeah.
like our cats.
Right.
That's what I think
They
too.
don't lie. They do not lie. They're upfront about that shit.
Absolutely. Cats are extremely honest animals.
So are dogs.
That's
they're,
true.
They're just like unconditional, and cats aren't.
That's true. That's true.
Cats have one goal, and that is, I am, awesome. You need to respect that, and if you don't, you're just an idiot.
That is the cat goal. That's true. That's basically like it's tattooed on their necks when they're born.
Dogs are different in the sense that they're like, you're awesome no matter what you do.
That's true.
And I respect that no matter what.
That's true. They idolize you. Cats, dogs put you on a pedestal,
Yeah.
and cats wait for you to put them on the pedestal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Cats
Animals are
don't wait
interesting.
for it. They put themselves there and expect you to understand that.
That's true. That's true.
I like it.
So how do you feel? How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling pretty good. I honestly had a pretty good day. A lot of my friends have been looking out for me, so I had a good
Good.
day.
That's
I
good.
really appreciate this conversation, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
I think it's a really good opportunity for actually us to be able to do this because we can actually take viewer calls at any point if it comes down to it. And this is a very easy endeavor. And I hope anybody watching can hear this well. It's hard for us to gauge because we're here talking directly to you. But I think on the microphone it looks like it's picking it up fairly well. So I don't think there's going to be an issue with anybody hearing it. Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely. Okay.
thought of a pun.
Good. Let's hear it.
Thought of like 5 puns.
5 puns?
No, I've been thinking of puns this entire time. Like when you were saying, "Oh, no, tightrope walking never happened," I almost said, "Oh, I'm afraid not," because it's a rope.
Right.
common
Yeah.
pun. But then, your microphone is picking up, so my voice is not a microtone. Fix your microphone. Sometimes I wonder why I have actual friends.
I do the same thing. I promise you. You watch my Stupid Dave videos, and I wonder why anybody associates with me. But you know, the right people will absolutely appreciate every last aspect of you. Terrible puns, you know, awful videos on my end. You know, I sing stupid songs. I send people videos of me singing in the car to them. Like, I do terrible, awful things, and anybody who loves you will accept that without question. They won't even like think to question it.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know.
It's a joke. Like, I make many self-deprecating jokes, and I know you do too.
Yeah, I do. It's fun. It's so
People
much fun.
appreciate humor, and those that don't, just
Yeah.
really probably aren't enjoying life very much or take it way too seriously.
That's actually, I think, the only reason Michelle and I truly get along is because we have a sense of humor. Oddly enough, we come from two very different backgrounds. Well, kind of, they're similar in a way, but we're in two very different spots in our life.
We've chosen two different backgrounds for our life.
That's true. Two very different things. You do different things with your life and your career, and we have very little in common in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But our humor is so congruent. I've actually met very few people who have a sense of humor that corresponds with yours.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
That's fun.
And I honestly think that's one of our biggest common bonds is the fact that you don't question my weirdness, but you play along with it so well. That,
one of these weeks we should just do that.
Is just be stupid to each other?
Just like improv stupid and just like display how that goes.
Just that dynamic. I think it'd be interesting for people to see that.
Fun.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. That's what famous YouTubers do. Cough. You can make money.
That's right.
Well, we want to be replica. We just want to be replicas of others.
That's true.
Yeah.
I love embarrassing you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I love watching you embarrass me.
Yeah, you love being.
There's so much love going on in that room.
It is. It's incredible. Michelle and I have a really fantastic relationship, and this is how I want any actual relationship to be. And you know, despite the fact that you know we're not involved with each other, I feel a proximity to you that I felt with very few people in actual relationships, even during like their height.
It's been so cool how it's been such an effortless, like our relationship can go through whatever phase it goes through.
Yeah.
And there's a stability that just can't really be destroyed or touched or anything.
Not at all.
Regardless, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are times that we've been involved with each other, times we haven't talked for months, times that we've been out of touch for years, times that we've talked every day, times that, you know, I mean, I'll come over sometimes and eat your food when you're not here and you don't know it. And
do you
like,
really?
Yeah, I do it sometimes. and these things are like, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me in any way.
It doesn't upset
It
you.
honestly has zero impact on how I feel
I
about
say
you.
so many terrible things about you, and it's never upset you.
Like two other people?
Yeah, nobody. Yeah,
And
you don't know.
And I'll
about
never
it.
know, so
Right.
I can't get upset.
Right.
That's
and
great.
You,
yeah.
and you love me the same.
I do, exactly. All the slander in the world does not change my mind about you.
That's right.
Yep.
All the things you don't know that I don't like about you.
Yeah, exactly. They make me love you more.
Yeah, they don't change how you feel about me.
No. And yeah, it makes me feel like really happy. This is ideally the kind of like, you know, friendship I want to have with as many people as possible. You know, something that there's no question that you're important to me. There's no question that who you are in my life and what we have is it's good at all times. You know?
Yeah.
It's really incredible. So I'm very fortunate to have that with you because I don't have that with a lot of people. So thank you.
You're lucky to have that at all. I just want to say my biggest problem is this is all I want with even just one person.
Mm-hmm.
And just coming back to that is this whole thing of that's all I want and it never works out.
You can have John.
So
I'm kind of done.
Yeah, no, I'm sick. It sucks. I hang out like with Michelle in this room, and after like 2 hours, it smells so bad, and I'm just like, get a tampon or something.
Shut up.
Because
John.
this is killing me.
You're such an ass. You're such a moron. Like, come up with something new.
Okay.
Hello?
All right. So, hello. Can you hear me? You still there?
Oh my gosh. We lost her.
No, she's still. Hello. You still here?
We totally lost her. You're gone. She said we're gone.
She says, or the connection is still there on the phone, so I'm trying to figure out why. Can you hear me? No? No? Gone? Done? She smelled it too.
Shut up, John.
It transcends.
Yeah, it
Data.
translates like the, yeah. Totally.
I uploaded the scent. It was too much.
Cool.
It was pretty cool. Technology's great.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's really incredible, actually, how different I feel right now compared to how I felt earlier.
Good.
Look at Jen outside. Because one of the most incredible things to me is that I've met a lot of great people over the past year, and not to discount a single bit of what they've meant to me, but you know, a lot of what was going on within me was very complicated by the fact that I wasn't handling my situation appropriately the way I wanted to, the way I needed to, and it's cool to be to a point where I'm actually physically feeling myself take a better step forward, because I'm no longer looking for a way to justify it.
Yeah.
I'm allowing myself to not be okay with it, to acknowledge that, and to say this is the proper step I needed to take a long time ago. And it very much complicated many things. And I've met wonderful people that I love very, very, very much, who have become brand new friends. And it's fantastic. I actually wrote something to another friend of mine the other day. I'm going to read this to you because this was extremely special to me. Because it's a friend I've actually known for about, oh God, 10 years probably at this point. 9 or 10. Oh, let's see. Okay. Oh, all right. Hello, you're back.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. I got to see if I can end up finding this this thing I'm going to be reading here. They sent this. Let's see.
Lydia said, a lot of people envy and are searching for the relationship and bond you two have.
It's true, and I feel extremely fortunate to have found this with someone like you, with a friend like you. And it makes me happy because even if I'm not in a relationship right now and I have no idea where any of this is going to go or how any of it's going to play out, I'm okay with all of it, because I know that if I can maintain friendships of this caliber, I genuinely don't have anything to worry about. Do I want to, share life with somebody? Absolutely. But I know that it's okay if I'm not, because the quality of my life is not decreased with what I've got. I'm extremely fortunate, I'm okay with all of it. What I said to a friend of mine, and this is a girl that I've known for like 10 years. And it's weird because I was thinking about the idea of a friend crush. Mm-hmm. And a friend crush is just somebody, I have a friend crush on you because you're somebody I want to be around, because your energy is so good, and it has nothing to do with romance. It has nothing to do with, trying to get something from you. And I wrote this to a friend. Okay. So I said, you know what? I was talking to my friend. You know what? This may sound strange, but I'd like you to hear me out. I have a crush on you. Enormously. I always have, and it's done nothing but grow over the years. What I've come to understand, however, is what that means. I've got a laundry list of things about you that are attractive, and it simply makes sense to be attracted to attractive people. Yeah? The key distinction is to understand why someone is genuinely attractive. When a person is good, loving, intelligent, compassionate, and the whole list of things above that I'd mentioned, which were, just more things about what makes a person so wonderful. It simply makes them a person whose company you prefer. It doesn't necessitate romantic intention, because I'm attracted to those qualities in my friends. If there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's to seek out people who have that same penchant for growth and the qualities that attract me to them. When I say I have a crush on you, it means you're the kind of person I want to be around, to talk to have fun with, to share things with, to open up to, and someone that makes me feel safe. Being that vulnerable with somebody is an intimate thing, and I feel infinitely safe with a friend like you. And of course, all these incredible qualities make you attractive. I mean, she's a beautiful girl. She's a model. You're already beyond jaw-dropping, but a beautiful girl with personality out the ass is literally people's dream come true, so of course I'm going to be attracted to that. It doesn't mean that I want anything from you, that I will think of you as anything more or less of my friend, or that I desire any sort of change in order to maintain this friendship. Not at all. The best relationships in the world are founded on a solid friendship, and I think incredible friendships are the staple for finding somebody that digs deep into you and makes you realize just how much your souls mean to each other. Yeah. And I had a dream about this person 2 months ago, and I was in an airport, and we ended up embracing and kissing. Really weird, no idea, but it was a nice, quick sort of just, that felt good kind of dream. I had that dream I told you about a month or two ago. It just got me thinking. You're an incredible girl, one of the most amazing I know, and all I can think about is how wonderful you are and how much I vie for your happiness. To me, honesty isn't weird or jarring because truth is the most beautiful thing in the world. It isn't always congruent with expectation, but the best way to gauge exactly what we truly want and to understand how we feel. You're my friend, and I love you. It will never mean changing this friendship, and if I can ever muster up the strength to fall in love again, I hope it's with somebody as out of this world as incredible as you. She's actually the one that I got Revolver from. So this is Revolver.
Oh.
So I mean, she's a very dear friend to me and somebody that I just think is so wonderful. I hope that when you meet someone, they see you to be as simply incredible and wonderful as I do. This isn't a confession of love, but an admission of truth. You are just one of the best people I know, and I hope you know there isn't a single atom about you that I don't admire. Thank you for every last bit of you. The best friends in the world will love as hard as they possibly can, and I hope you know you're someone that simply makes my heart dance with joy whenever I see your post and think about you. Stay excellent. You deserve nothing less than stellar.
That's awesome.
And it was fun because writing this to me it's a universal kind of concept, because I could send that to anybody that I know that has impacted me to this level and mean that. And ideally, I want to mean that to everybody that I interact with, male or female, romantic, platonic, any of those things, because I want just to be surrounded by people who I love being around. I've got male, friend crushes, male and female, because there's some people that I just love their energy so much, whether they're funny or whether they're kind or whether they send me cat videos or whatever it is. I just love being around people like that.
Me too.
And getting to watch people's growth. I love being around that. Being around people who are struggling. I love being around that, because there are people that just make me want proximity, because I love seeing their energy and their growth and what gift they have given to the world and what they look for. I have crushes on lots of people is what it kind of comes down to. And I want to be around those people often. There is not one blue lady on this screen. Hold on.
Where's that blue lady you
Oh,
like?
the actual blue lady.
That's not.
I
Oh.
know.
Where's the actual one? There's the blue lady.
I think this one, the battery's dead. Normally the eyes are still
Here's
lighting up.
the blue lady that John likes.
Yeah. So
Some of you know this as Mewtwo, but this is actually a blue lady.
yeah, to anybody who's never seen this before and wants to understand the story of the Blue Lady podcast, this is it. Because Michelle, God bless her dumb soul, we were dating 2 years ago, and she knows I like Mewtwo. I played him in Smash Brothers. I have a tattoo of him on my arm, like all these things. Mewtwo is my guy, right? We were at Walmart.
Where's Mewtwo?
He's right here.
There's Mewtwo.
Yeah, it's Mewtwo.
Those of you that haven't seen, there's a blue lady on John's arm.
Yeah. And so we're going to explain this, I think, almost every podcast
Okay.
to all the new people. And we were at Walmart.
Do it in an accent this time. In the Scottish one.
We're at Walmart, and we're about to check out. I'm getting my Cheetos, my rice milk, and my haggis. And we're standing in line, and she looks at me and she says, "I found your blue lady." And I said, "What does that mean?" And she hands me a pack of Pokemon cards and has a picture of Mewtwo on it. She said, "That's the blue lady you're always talking about." And I said, "Nay, that's not her. That's Mewtwo, and he's purple." What are you on?
It looked like a blue lady to me.
There's nothing like it. There's no tits.
John and I don't have video games in common.
Not at all. No, she doesn't like video games at all. She likes to watch some of them, but not really. It's not like a thing of hers. But she likes it a little bit. And Sue, she's mistaken, and it's the greatest thing.
It was pretty funny.
And so we've remembered it for the last 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. And so when we decided to make this podcast, we thought Blue Lady is something we've got in common. It's a weird inside joke, but I don't mind explaining
You
it
sound
to
like
people.
William Wallace.
Defending my own freedom. In that movie, there's a scene where a man is sleeping in his bed and he gets his head bashed in with a mace.
Yes, that was a great scene.
It's the first scene I grew a boner to.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you bleh?
No, it was not. No, there's not enough. You don't see enough of the climax to make me climax.
Oh. Was any part of that movie enough to make you climax?
The face paint.
Ooh.
When William Wallace is like, "I'm going to become half a blue lady."
All right.
So, want to thank you for listening in. Every one of you. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to my friend Michelle.
Yep.
One of my best friends in the whole world.
Mhm.
I've got to practice an accent a little bit more. I think I'm not too bad at it.
You're not bad.
It's not so.
You're a lot better than I am at that one.
To be fairly honest, I don't even know if I'm like getting certain intonations right. I just think they sound right to me. So I have to have like an actual Scottish man watch
The
this.
important thing is, does it feel right?
It feels meh, not necessarily.
Meh, meh.
Sir, meh. Meh. Get all dejected. My balloon is just sinking to the ground. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
All right. Well, I want to thank all of you guys, Lydia, all the people who have commented, Jason, people who have popped in on here and, said wonderful things and offered, wonderful words. And thank you guys for another week. And thank you for listening to me have a difficult time with some stuff going on. And I'm glad you got to see me actually sort of get past that, because I actually don't feel anxious any longer. And I was even feeling anxious when we started this thing.
Yeah.
And I feel leagues better.
I'm
currently.
glad.
I am too. You can actually feel my heart getting bigger. So.
That's good.
That is. Thank you. Now I'm stronger.
You're stronger?
You've conditioned me.
Do you know that Britney Spears song, Stronger?
I may have heard it, but I don't know if him.
I want you to learn it and do a video replica.
Like learn just like the vocals, or you want me to actually learn how to play all the instruments?
All of it,
Okay.
and learn how she does the dance with the chair.
Oh, that's
You're
fine.
going to do like a really sexy chair dance to Britney Spears Stronger.
Okay.
Because you feel stronger about Chris.
That's fair.
Okay?
Okay, that's fair.
So,
I'd say that's a good admission.
bueno.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Check us out online.
Yes, I love the Scottish voice too.
Oh. Who said it?
And
Oh, Deacon the Scottish voice. All right, let's see. I want to see at the very end.
we love you too.
Love you guys. Deacon the Scottish voice is on point. Okay, good. I'm very happy that
Good.
it was
Good,
it was
good.
well received.
It sounded good to me too.
Thank you. I felt all right with you. I'll keep practicing. Eventually, I'm just gonna become Scottish, and you'll never know that I was ever an American at one point.
Where is Lex in Scotland?
She came back about a month ago.
Oh.
We went out to dinner a couple times.
Cool.
We go to the gym now every week. I'm actually gonna see her again tomorrow.
Ooh, tell her hi.
I'm gonna tell her Michelle's is spreading rumors about you. Yeah.
Okay, tell her that.
Okay.
At least she'll know I'm thinking about her.
That's true. You're still on her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a silver lining.
You're on my mind.
Yep.
It's all horrible and not true, but there you are.
What if it's a true rumor?
I haven't said anything about her. This is your lie.
You said hi.
This is
Oh,
your
babe.
lie.
I heard Michelle said hi.
Yeah, Michelle said hi.
Yeah, rumor has it that she's reading you.
Rumor has it Michelle said hello.
Yeah, exactly. Take it or leave it. Yeah, please believe it or not. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank all of you guys so much. And love you too, Jason. Thank you again. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yep, bueno.
Okay. Everybody have a good night. And until
Bye.
next time, bye.